Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from Sherwood Forest in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, Hour 1 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I am your lovable, huggable, mid-morning chat host, Eric Von Haessler, surrounded by the Doctrinaires, man of 1,000 voices, Tim Andrews, lady of quite a few voices in her own right, Autumn Fisher, and the handsomest producer in all of producery, Jared Yamamoto. And if you say Happy National Pie Day to me, I am going to punch you in the face.
No,
Am I allowed to do that? Excuse me, can we get HR? Is HR around? Can I get a ruling?
Where is she? Is
Can
she
I get
there?
a ruling? Can I get a ruling on that?
I'm her assistant, and I think...
Can I punch him in the face?
No, I don't think you can. I think you can say that you're going to.
You do understand the motive, the instinct.
Absolutely.
The fact that I want to punch him in the face.
Yes, I do.
If my producer was to bring down this show right from the very beginning by making it sound like every other hackneyed radio show.
No, I'm looking
by saying Happy National Pie Day. You better not do that, because I don't know that it's not worth losing my job to punch you in the face.
I'm jumping ahead, Eric. I know everyone's talking about the Chinese Lunar New Year that starts on Saturday. Year of the Rat is coming up.
I thought, is that what's spreading this?
Rats, bats, salamanders.
I thought everybody was talking about the Chinese flu, the Chinese virus, or whatever.
Coronavirus.
What is it? The coronavirus? Is that for a? I thought that has nothing to do with the beer. I hope.
When you catch it, you end up on a beach underneath some palm trees.
Yeah, that's
just
so
chilling
bad.
with a hot
That's so
lady.
bad. You know, people don't seem to realize about the coronavirus. You can cure it with a lime. They're just not drinking it right. All right, let's do this.
Headlines for Thursday, January 23rd.
Oh, man. Let me tell you. Do we have that open micer who was angry that we broke into Rush Limbaugh yesterday?
Yes.
It's funny, man. I was driving home, and I had the station on, and look, we had to cover the news, and that's our charter. But it was the worst moment, because it was almost as if Rush had just said, so let me explain this all to you. Ba-dum-ba-dum-bum.
From ABC News.
No, it was Chris Chandler broke in to actually play the beginning of, not play, but
Well, sorry, Rush fans. Oh, wait, that's all right. I'm
Chris
wrong
Chandler,
about everything.
You're wrong about everything today. Do you work here at WSB, Tim Andrews?
Well, I don't do a Chris Chandler impression.
It's very difficult to do. So, I knew that some people would be upset with us breaking in. But let's see.
I have two of them. Here's the first one. This guy's a little lighter, and then the second guy is very upset.
Yeah.
I'm sick of hearing about any of it. Stop playing it on the radio and preempting Rush Limbaugh.
There's the first one.
Rush, were you upset?
Well, no. I mean, it's got to be done. It's new.
And then the second guy, he lost his bananas.
Let's go ahead and tell you right now, WSB, I will listen to Rush Limbaugh and all your other shows, but every time you cut and cover this bull scam impeachment, I am changing the station, because I will not listen to Adam Schiff or any of this bull. I am not listening to your news anymore, because you're all just a bunch of leftists like everybody else.
First of all, this is the South, Rush. Lord's name in vain. A little over the top.
I would like to say to your young producer, you bleep the God, not the other word. Everybody knows what you're saying. But, okay, well, wait a minute now. Let me ask this caller now.
Yeah.
Now, why do you ask that question?
Oh, I love when Rush does this. This is my favorite. When a person calls in and Rush doesn't really. Well, he answers, but then when he stops and he says something like, "I'm very interested in the way. Why would you ask such a thing?"
Now, let me try to figure out what you're saying. Now, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I think, no. What did he say when he called in? I mean, okay. Well, I don't want to get in trouble. I mean, I could say a lot of things.
Rush, now you're just answering voices that we don't hear.
All right, what I think he's saying. Okay, what I think he's saying is that he's a devoted WSB listener, and he loves all the. He just doesn't want to hear Schiff. Nobody wants to hear Schiff. But, they're it's a news station, and we have an app.
Yeah, you have an app.
Get the Rush app. You get Rush Revere.
And Rush, people had legit questions for you. The second we took you off the air, people had questions for you.
Oh, we have an actual question. I got a feeling, though, that Rush is first, before he answers the question, he's going to ask why the caller asked the question.
Rush, I got a question for you, Mr. Limbaugh. How come we can't make the Democrats pay for all this impeachment hearings and all this stuff that's going on? How come they can't pay the money back? And how come they can't pay for the crimes that they've done by doing all this stuff to Ukraine? How come we can't make the Democrats pay? How come we can't do that?
Rush?
Okay, well, now, what I think he's trying to ask. Well, it's not necessarily. Okay.
Just ask? No,
I don't want to put words in his mouth. Okay, now, wait a minute. Let me ask you. Why do you ask that question? I'm just curious. I don't think you're right or wrong. I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not going to. I mean, there's a lot of things. The Democrats and, this impeachment is about Trump. And, obviously, we'd love to see Schiff get in trouble. Maybe we'll find out the ballot box.
All right, so I was, after realizing, oh boy, there's going to be a lot of open mics, because we cut in right as Rush is like, let me just explain it in detail. And then,
yeah, I almost called.
Hey, Jared, tell them to.
I was driving. I was like, okay, the app or the FM.
Yeah, see, so, but then I'm listening to Schiff, because I don't like to, so that's almost most of my actual hearing in real time what happened yesterday was on the ride home, thanks to WSB. And just a few things straight out of the box. One thing is that my theory that this should be covered as a campaign tactic, because that's what it is. There's no chance Trump's going to be removed. The Democrats have decided this is a way to maybe, if not win the Oval Office, maybe turn the Senate or something along that line. So it was just really kind of, some of it's outrageous. If I just tell myself just to laugh. Where Schiff is saying at one point, do you have the one where he says, well, the reason we have to do this so quickly, the reason we couldn't allow subpoenas to go through courts to find out if they could come forward in the House investigation is we didn't have time. He's answering people who say, hey, we have an election in November. Let the people decide. And with no backing whatsoever in logic, he just throws it out there that, well, the 2020 election's in danger, sort of seeding the idea out there to people that this guy, Donald Trump, there's no way that he can legitimately be reelected. Just seeding the idea out there already that if Donald Trump is reelected, it's because he worked with foreign adversaries like Russia and others to rig the election for a second time. Why do I say second time? Because I'm telling you, as Adam Schiff, don't believe what Robert Mueller said. We're still going with the first narrative. So it's just, I have to make myself laugh that the want for power is so great that you would do this, that you would actually throw out there without any real evidence whatsoever that the 2020 election is already in peril. We already have reasons to doubt the outcome, unless Biden wins, in which case we know we beat back the Russians. So hit that. Was that number 2?
The president's misconduct cannot be decided at the ballot box.
Stop right there. This is the United States of America. That is an astonishing. Let me put that in different words. We, members of Congress, cannot leave this in the hands of the American people, because that system is so trashed that we cannot believe the results of that system. That's why we didn't allow the subpoenas and the executive privilege to go through the courts, because our system of electing presidents is so broken. Now, at that point, he should step back and give us 2 hours of sourcing and everything on that. There's nothing that Schiff can say that's more important than that.
The president's misconduct cannot be decided at the ballot box.
Stop. Again, nothing can be said more important than that. So therefore, call everything else off for the next 7 hours and explain that, source that, tie that to the ground, to reality. Because surely, just for the want of an inch or two more power, you wouldn't throw that out there without knowing it is a 2 + 2 = 4 fact, and we can go X, Y, Z, and this is what. Surely, not as the notion of one political side, you wouldn't be that cavalier with the nation. Oh, it's Adam Schiff. Surely he would. 1 inch? Go to hell. He'd do it for 1 millimeter more power. It's egregious. And if you're just tuning in, stick around long enough, I'll go after all of them on all sides. But I call them as I see them, and this is egregious.
The president's misconduct cannot be decided at the ballot box, for we cannot be assured that the vote will be fairly won.
Again, I need at least 2 straight hours of sourcing on that. Tie that to the ground. Surely this is not your opinion or your notion. This is an algorithm that can never be wrong. Otherwise, you would never bring something like that up. So again, we go back to, it's always about me. Eric von Haessler is always right. This is about the election. Because Schiff and Pelosi and Schumer don't have any notion whatsoever that it's even remotely possible to remove this president through this trial in the Senate. This is all about, as a matter of fact, the people in the Senate, the 100 senators, are supposed to be the jury. Schiff's not talking to them. He's talking to the American people watching on television, and he's seeding arguments to turn power over to the Democrats. It's unctuous behavior. And if you don't know what unctuous means, look it up. It'll be one of your favorite words. You'll look it up, you'll see the definition, and you'll think of 3 people you've met that describes, and you never quite had the word for it. That is unctuous behavior. Let's go back. Let's see how far the Democrat Party has come in 4 years. We have Adam Schiff on the floor of the Senate telling senators that basically implying that the last election was stolen and seeding the argument that we can't even trust the ballot box anymore. If this guy wins again, he probably stole it again. Stolen means rigged. The election is rigged. Well, people may forget. Eric von Haessler, I may not remember what I had for dinner last night, but I have good long-term memory. Don't ask me why. But I remember things. And many people may have forgotten that there was a time in the 2016 election cycle when Trump was floating the idea, every bit as wrong-headed, but at the time he was floating the idea that if he lost and Hillary won, the election was probably rigged. As a matter of fact, in one of the debates, he wouldn't raise his hand to say that he wouldn't object to the results because it might be that the election's being rigged for Hillary Clinton to win. And this got to the current president. I know you all have ADHD, so let me remind you, Barack Obama. That was the preceding president. This racist, white nationalist country that we live in that, elected and reelected the first African-American president only just a few years ago. So this idea of rigged elections, this is how far this party has come. This is what Obama said when Trump was talking about the election possibly being rigged.
There is no serious person out there who would suggest somehow that you could even rig America's elections, in part because they're so decentralized and the numbers of votes involved. There's no evidence that that has happened in the past or that there are instances in which that will happen this time. And so I'd advise Mr. Trump to stop whining and go try to make his case to get votes.
What about that doesn't apply to Adam Schiff, and including the last part? Could he not say exactly the same thing to Adam Schiff from yesterday?
The president's misconduct cannot be decided at the ballot box.
Right. So, and I know it's like a conundrum for a lot of listeners in our audience. Well, Eric, I don't know how to agree with Barack Obama. My head's about to explode.
I know. It's difficult for me because, I don't like this Trump guy. But, hey, he deserves a fair shake.
It is impossible, Eric Von Haessler submits to you, my fine radio audience, that what Obama said, if true, could have been upended and turned around to where it actually is true now. If Obama was correct in 2016, it is impossible that things have changed so much that that statement is incorrect in 2020. If you're on the left or on your right, choose which one you believe, but then you're stuck with it.
Irreverent.
Entertaining.
Gut-busting.
Very funny. And doesn't toe any party line.
I think it's a great show.
The Von Haessler Doctrine on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Man, did you see that yesterday? The Hawks screwed up and won.
Yes, they did.
I too did the first quarter. The Clippers went on a 26-1 run.
With their backups.
Well, it's all backups. It's like the NBA. I can't understand why your ratings are down. You tune into the Hawks and the Clippers. On the Clippers side, Kawhi Leonard's not playing. Paul George isn't playing. On the Hawks side, Trae Young's not playing. Jabari Parker's not playing. And you can't tell me. I mean, I'm glad. They should just sit Trae Young for the rest of the year. He's made the All-Star game, right? He's going to make the All-Star game. Just obviously they're tanking on purpose. There's no other way to put it out there because they're doing what the 76ers did, right? They want to get the top picks for a couple of years in a row. Is that what they're doing? I mean, it's got to be.
Like it.
It's got to be. It's got to be. It doesn't make any sense to me. But so you've got nobody playing, and then the other team goes, hey, you know what? Today, we don't care. So we're not going to put our stars in either. Because Kawhi Leonard is like the Michael Jordan who may or may not play any given game. I don't feel like it. Well, I can't see. These people don't play. Hey, NBA, Eric Von Haessler, going to save you a lot of money. All right? This Kawhi Leonard is great to watch play, but he decides not to play all the time because to save himself for the playoffs. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, here's an idea. Cut 20 games. They'll play them all. They play 82 now, right?
I
play
believe
62 games. And there's the 20 games that Kawhi Leonard refuses to play during the regular season. It's idiotic. Now all the teams are resting player. What do they call it? Managed load or something like that?
Well, especially on the back-to-back games. The tendency is on the second game.
Okay, what's that telling you as a league? You shouldn't have back-to-back games, or you should just have overall less games. I just thought it was hilarious. The Hawks obviously are trying to have the worst record in basketball.
You know what they're going for is that kid out of UGA, the 5-star recruit, Anthony Edwards.
He'd probably want to be there. He probably would want to play for the
guy's a beast over at UGA.
Look, the 76ers did it. It was painful. I get it. But, yeah, you know what? There's no way that if that was Game 5 of some playoff game, whatever Trae Young's injury was, you can't tell me he wouldn't be playing. I just think it's hilarious. They screwed up and won a game. There was nobody in there. I feel bad for it. This is probably Vince Carter's last year, and I think he likes the team and everything. It's like, hey, yeah, you're going to be on one. We're going to tank the whole year. Hey, thanks for your service. They will have. I mean, it's a lottery, Alan. So what you just keep putting yourself. If you're one of the worst teams, you get into the lottery a number of years in a row. You're more likely to get top picks, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the 76ers did it. They tanked for years, and now they've got a team.
Well, and to Alan's point,
and Lloyd Pierce came from the 76ers. Trust the process.
And that Anthony Edwards kid out of UGA.
Is he the guy who was in ER?
Yes.
Yeah. No. All right.
In Revenge of the Nerds.
He's a beast. He's from Atlanta, and he's going to UGA now, and he wants to stay local. So looks like a perfect fit.
I get what's going on, but let's not get Trae Young hurt in the meantime. I say Trae Young plays every fourth game. Just keep him in, keep him warm, whatever. And he looks good in his little red jacket. Just let him sit over there and root everybody on. But it was hilarious. I've never seen a team trying to lose so badly, and somehow the Clippers pulled back and said, "Yeah, we're gonna care less than you today. So it's on you." I do want to. I was thinking about impeachment. Because, it's number one with a bullet. Everybody's talking about impeachment.
Give it to me, baby.
Yeah. Impeach me. Impeach me. Impeach you. So I was thinking about impeachment. I'd like to throw something out there that I don't know if it's a conclusion. It's a possibility. It's a notion that I have. Let's go to where's the one? Do you have the one where Schiff? I feel like he's trying to get the kids on board. So he brings up Alexander Hamilton a lot because, well, that show is so famous. The kids love Alexander Hamilton, which is to me absolutely hilarious. But there's go ahead and hit him here today because Hamilton feared or whatever. Number 12.
We are here today in this hallowed chamber undertaking this solemn action for only the third time in history because Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, has acted precisely as Hamilton and his contemporaries feared.
That's right, kids. I'm bringing up the one founding father that's really popular right now. Trying to get you kids on board. Meanwhile, Alexander. Now, the reasoning and bring up Alexander Hamilton in this context, and believe me, there's no need. I would love to go out and ask 900 millennials this question and see how many came up with the answer to which Federalist paper did Alexander Hamilton write about impeachment?
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. And yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot.
Am I going to be the first American to stand up and say that sucks?
It's fun.
I'm Alexander Hamilton.
How could it be fun?
And I'm here to say...
Yeah. You want to hear me bust some rhymes?
Yeah, Alexander Hamilton, because we know this was the real you.
I'm Alexander Hamilton, and I like to rap. I'm here to tell you all about a funny little trap. It's called impeachment, and to make it work, you need to prove the president's a jerk. When he breaks the law or when he acts real mean, you can vote him out if your case is clean. If your case is weak, just make it a show, because the voters are dumb and they sure don't know.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away
kids,
my
you love him,
shot.
no? Yeah.
I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot.
You know what else he was? Pasty white. It's time for the truth to come out. Alexander Hamilton was pasty white fella. So
I'm whiter than snow, and I'm doing the show impeaching the president.
So the reason Alexander Hamilton can be brought in, I feel like nobody knows anything, so I'm sorry people know this, but the Federalist Papers, the reason that they were written by Hamilton and John Jay and was Adams, it was the time where the country was pushing back on the Constitution, and they're answering the questions and reasons that people want to reject the Constitution. So in Federalist number 66, Hamilton. Thank you. Hamilton is answering critics of the impeachment clause, and so I was reading part. This is my notion. It's quite possible that, as great as the founders were, there may be some mistakes in the Constitution. And Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
It might be that impeachment is a mistake in the Constitution. And the reason I say that is because it might be that it was always doomed to be used like this. And the spotlight's on you Republicans as well. And if you're listening to me on WSB and you can't handle it, well, I say to you, a fond farewell. Goodbye. But impeachment is being used as a political tactic because we don't like the president. Right? And I think it's being used. And it may be that it's a flaw. Governors have been removed from office. In states, they don't have impeachment. They have a recall. right? You have to have so many signatories to want to have a recall election. You have to get a lot of people to say, hey, a certain percentage of people in the state are in favor of having a recall election. And then they just redo the election and they leave it up to the voters. An Arizona voter was removed. Scott Walker in Wisconsin won again. And what does that do when you win again? So, well, we know the will of the people. Mm-hmm. We put it back to them. Impeachment, removing a duly elected president, maybe was a bad idea. Now, there have been impeachments. Most impeachments are judges, federal judges. So I was looking at impeachment. The House of Representatives, I think this has always been political and always a bad idea. Why couldn't you do the same thing? If you want to recall a president, then you would have to get so many signatures, percentage of each state, whatever, and then you would just run the election again, and then at least you would know. You would know. The House of Representatives has initiated impeachment proceedings 62 times since 1789. Now, that just means they initiated. One of them was a president in his last year of office. That was James Buchanan, which I did not know until I... But initiated doesn't mean happened. The impeachment was initiated 62 times. Impeachment actually happened from the House of Representatives impeaching people 20 times. Out of all of those times, 8 officials were convicted, all of them judges. Now, if you had a prosecutor in DeKalb or Fulton or whatever, they said, well, he's had 62 prosecutions. Yeah, well, how's he doing? Yeah, well, he convicted 8. Would you say that's a great process? and I started looking at, I don't know who these people are. You know the first person who was ever convicted? William Blount, 1797. Now, they had real charges on this guy. He was a senator from Tennessee, conspiring to assist Britain in capturing Spanish territory. But here's, again, this makes my
Treason,
point. Yeah, but this makes my point. The Senate said, hey, he's a senator. We'll take care of him. So the Senate rejected impeachment, and they ousted him. The other senators ousted that senator from their club, which goes to my point. With recall elections, in a different situation with the American people, I think that there are remedies for this stuff outside of impeachment. I think impeachment is a bad idea. It's a flawed part of the Constitution. You look through, I can't go through all of these, we're not all the time. But I mean, almost everybody, you look at some of the charges, some of these judges. Okay, this is a guy, second guy ever impeached. 1803, John Pickering.
Oh.
He was
a jerk.
Yeah, he was a judge in New Hampshire. Drunkenness and unlawful rulings. This couldn't be taken care of. This couldn't be taken care of by the people. He was one of the ones who actually was convicted and removed. It's amazing. There's a guy, James H. Peck, 1830, judge, Missouri. Abuse of power. What the hell does that mean? And if he is abusing power, the people of Missouri can't handle that?
Are they elected or appointed?
Well, these are federal judges.
So they're appointed. They have to get rid of them. The people can't, right?
Well, my point is you could create a process.
Yeah, that's true.
Where people can say, look, we don't want this. I'm not saying that people should stay there. I'm saying I don't think impeachment, where the federal government says you can't have this, acquitted. 1805. James Buchanan. That one didn't actually go. What's the one? Who was the one of these guys was a Supreme Court justice, and Samuel Chase, Supreme Court of the United States. All right, this was 1804. Political bias. This is the charges: political bias and arbitrary rulings promoting a partisan political agenda on the bench. Acquitted. 1805.
Was he a big Whig Party supporter?
I don't know what he was. My point is, those seem like fuzzy charges to me right there. I just don't think impeachment, what I'm saying by saying it's flawed is where we are now is where we had to be, meaning it's a flawed part of the Constitution that was bound to be used in partisanship, political partisanship, rather than what the Constitution does best when it's doing things best, which is checks and balances. So we may just be living out something that is just a flawed thing. But that didn't stop Schiff from mentioning Hamilton. Do you have the letter? This sounds like almost like a poem. He's going on with this was in a letter that Alexander Hamilton. You remember? You know Alex? Yeah, the founder.
Yeah, dog.
Hell yeah.
Okay, but before we do that, let's go. I find this funny. You know, it's obvious that the Democrats realize after beating the hell out of the founders for the last 20 years, now they have to rely on them. So they have to build them up. So in his opening statement, Schiff was, he's kind of like, hey, look, we know the founders were flawed, but in this, do you have that one?
As centuries have passed, our founders have achieved an almost mythical character. We are aware of their flaws, certainly some very painful and pronounced indeed.
Okay, they had slaves. All right.
And yet, when it came to the drafting of a new system of government, never seen before and with no guarantee it would succeed, we cannot help but be in awe of their genius, their prescience even, vindicated time and time again.
Yeah, I know we've been doing nothing but trashing the founders as a party for the last 20 years, but we kind of need to rely on them for this little impeachment thing, so let me reform their character. Oh, yes, many of them owned slaves, but, wait, you're Democrats. I thought there wasn't a but. Well, yes, many of them owned slaves, but...
Hey, we fought a war to get rid of that.
Hey, we have Andrew Johnson.
That's right. We fought a war to get rid of all that. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sitting here. I'm just telling you.
We are
Mr. Schiff or whatever.
Our impeachment panel. We have Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton, the only two presidents to ever have been impeached.
Well, Bill's busy right now. He's eating some breakfast. He likes to eat fast food breakfast. I don't know what that means, but he said he'd bring me something.
So now let's go to the poetic language from Hamilton.
When a man, unprincipled in private life, desperate in his fortune, bold in his temper, possessed of considerable talents, having the advantage of military habits, despotic in his ordinary demeanor,
we need the Civil
known
War
to have
music.
scoffed in private at the principles of liberty, when such a man is seen to mount the hobby horse of popularity, to join in the cry of danger to liberty, to take every opportunity
hold on. There's a very important
of
part
embarrassing the general government and bringing it under suspicion, to flatter and fall in with all the nonsense of the zealots of the day.
Stop. Is this about Trump, or is it about the people that voted for Trump? If you voted for Trump, Adam Schiff just referred to you as the zealots of the day. And his argument yesterday was Trump doesn't care about what those zealots want. He wrote it as a hobby horse so that he could further his brand and enrich himself. But you, if you voted for Trump, according to Schiff, you are nothing more than a zealot of the day. And there's one more poetic part where Schiff is, he's still quoting Hamilton. Because the kids love him. I mean, he's the only rapping founder that we have. You know, the other guys are just squares.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot.
Let me tell you something. I never saw this show, but just hearing those words, I'd walk out.
Hey, can I ask
well, just the way it's sung.
I'm sorry, Andrew Johnson, first president impeached. Yes. Yes.
I got to ask a question here. Is it true that Alexander Hamilton was a bearded Mexican?
Wow.
No?
No. I believe.
I don't understand what's going on here.
He has Jamaican ties.
I believe
he
Jamaican.
Was he born in Jamaica, Alexander Hamilton?
I believe he was.
Or just have Jamaican
so
parents.
He likes the sticky icky.
I don't know what that means.
Weed.
Sticky icky.
Help.
Andrew Johnson in the 1860s, which were the 60s for the 1800s.
Yeah.
Was weed popular?
Oh, it was crazy popular.
So the 1860s were much like the 1960s.
What we do, we pick it, smoke it, and make rope.
You didn't want to leave any on the table.
No, we used all of it. Unlike you kids today, just throw away the stem. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll step back.
I appreciate you. The first impeached president, and we want your perspective here on our impeachment panel. Go ahead. What were we going over?
I've got number 12 for you.
We are here today in this hallowed chamber, undertaking this solemn action for only the third time in history because Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, has acted precisely as Hamilton and his contemporaries feared.
I'm gonna mention Alexander Hamilton as much as I can. Go to number 1. I think it's where he says this is another poetic thing that Hamilton did in his letter. I don't know if it's from Federalist 66 or if it's from his letter to George Washington about the kind of man that needs to be impeached.
For a man who believed that the Constitution gave him the right to do anything he wanted. For a man who believed that he was above the law and beholden to no one. For a man, in short, who would be a king.
The Man Who Would Be King. Now, that was a good movie. Seems to me like that Hamilton musical is pretty terrible.
You couldn't drag me to it.
You could drag me, but you couldn't make me enjoy it. Hour 2 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins now. Oh, this just in. I'm just getting this across the transom. Alexander Hamilton, it turns out, was a pasty white guy who never rapped. This guy was so pasty and white that even in his portraits, because we didn't have any daguerreotypes or whatever you say that before the photograph, that the artist can't help but show the rosacea. It's always there.
Don't sit around with the vapors. Take a look at these Federalist papers.
But for this to succeed, there's someone else we need.
I know.
So he knows what to do in the trenches. You know it, and fluent in French. I mean, still you're gonna have to use them eventually. What's he gonna do on the bench? I mean, no one has no resilience, so matches my practical, tactical brilliance. You want to fight for your land back?
This just in. He's a pasty white guy who never rapped.
The original Eminem.
He sure was. Some of his stuff. The things he said about he wanted to take Betsy Ross into the forest.
Oh,
yeah, that was absolutely.
Oh yeah, put him in his. Put her in his trunk.
You call that a flag? I'm gonna call you up.
Yeah, it was. What a mouth on that Hamilton, I'll tell you. Pasty white guy.
Hey, the play is fun. You guys should really see it.
Oh, the play is fun.
The
It sounds
musical.
horrible.
Yeah, it is a musical. It is not a play.
No.
Oh my. Okay. Yes, a musical.
Well,
Excuse
it's
me, the
true.
musical-
There's a difference.
The musical is fun.
You know what I would say? I would say that maybe about 2 hours, 2 of the worst hours of my life were sitting on Broadway in the big city, New York City, sitting through Spider-Man, the musical. I think I would choose to do that 5 more times before sitting through
Spider-Man.
Hamilton.
But for this to succeed, there's someone else we need.
I know.
That's enough. And what's with the music? By the way, we're bringing this up because Adam Schiff said Alexander Hamilton as many times as he could yesterday because he knows he's the only founding father that today's kids even sort of kind of like because they think that he's a rapper.
Well, and Trump is like Aaron
from
Burr.
Jamaica.
That's what it
Yeah,
is.
Trump is
Aaron
like,
Burr. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Aaron Burr. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Took a bullet in the chest.
My name is Taft. I am fat. I died in a tub.
It's Taft. He didn't die in a tub. He was stuck in a tub.
Whoa.
Stuck in a tub.
Taft.
Whoa. He's fatter than the rest of us.
Yeah. Taft. Who is the president who got stuck in a bathtub?
Taft.
Damn
They say
right.
he's a bad so-and-so.
Andrew Johnson.
I'm talking about Taft.
What's your phraseology, young man?
You know, Andrew Johnson, who's on our impeachment panel, CNN's really jealous because we got the first
Take that, picture box.
Is that what you call the TV still?
Picture box. I don't know what it's called. What's TV mean?
He was telling me off the air that he actually was an Aaron Burr fan. He thought that he had a good point.
I thought he had a good point, and I said to Abe, I said, why don't you just call Jeff, get him up here, have yourselves a little duel. We'll settle this whole Civil War lickety split, no more people have to die.
Winner take all. Jefferson Davis
no more
versus...
sawing legs off.
Yeah. And Lincoln had that tall hat, so you could shoot him there and then not, and still miss.
There weren't very many brains in that hat. I tell you. The hat was bigger than his brains.
Andrew Johnson, I know you're here on an impeachment panel, but I think you need to understand something.
Yeah.
Most people in America in 2020 consider Abraham Lincoln the greatest president
Even
of all
in
time.
this state of Georgia?
Everybody. It's
What,
pretty much
succeeded?
What seceded?
He said, what seceded from our nation and we had to crush them?
Yeah, he's considered to be the best president ever.
We sent that teetotaling redhead from Ohio down here to set fire to this state.
Now, hold on. Now, wait a minute. Until now, there are many people who love the current president who would say that argue that he's actually the best ever.
You mean the one with the weird hair?
Yeah, our current president. Yeah, Trump. That's
Trump.
The one being impeached.
Well,
you know, he asked me he'd been on this impeachment panel yesterday and today, and then after the show, Andrew Johnson walks up to me. And he confides in me. He says, well, what's he being impeached for? He didn't even know what he's being impeached for.
Yeah, I can't figure it out. I read all this stuff.
Yeah, he asked me, did he steal another man's horses or something like that?
No, that's something to impeach over.
No, he didn't steal another man's horses.
Did he lose half the country?
Eric, remember
he didn't.
President Johnson was also really shocked that President Trump doesn't drink. President Trump doesn't drink.
I don't believe that. You can't occupy the White House. The only one other than him that didn't drink was James Buchanan. We try to get rid of that. Well, I can't say. He rode a pony. Let me just tell you that. He didn't ride a horse.
Let's not be slurring other people. He's not here to defend himself.
He wasn't married.
He's on MSNBC.
How can you trust a man to lead your country who ain't married? He was a dandy. That's what we said back then.
All right. Now, Andrew Johnson, I need you to just, the only thing that's better
the shame
than
of Pennsylvania is what we call him.
Hearing Andrew Johnson, the first impeached president, is so great on our impeachment panel, but just knowing that Wolf Blitzer is going, oh, how did they get him? We have two members of our impeachment. You turn on CNN, they got like 10 people you never heard of. They write blogs or whatever. We have two members of our impeachment panel, Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton, the only two presidents to ever have been impeached.
Hey, I got you some Chick-fil-A. He don't know what that is, but I got him some biscuits. He likes them minis. He tried one yesterday.
You guys have been hanging out.
We're partying. Yeah. After the show, we went to a bar. He couldn't believe they let women take their clothes off.
Yeah, well, I can't believe you're in that bar myself. But
why not? Are you going to be a tattletale?
No, well, you're telling everybody.
That's where we were.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, the CNN panels that they have like the 10 boxes on there. Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed over the last couple of days.
They have so many people on the panels. At one point, I swear to God, it's not broken up into boxes anymore. It's actual fractals. There's 192 people on one panel.
Yeah, each pixel is a guest.
Is a guest.
Say, I got another question.
Yes.
Why can't you smoke a cigar no place in this town?
We've changed.
Why, are they upset because they were burnt down to the ground?
No, it's got nothing to do with Sherman. Would you stop gloating about that? Okay, it was a long time ago.
It was funny.
Andrew
I wish
Johnson.
we'd had one of these little picture squares.
How about the phone?
Whatever it is. Could have put it on the Intergram. I'm having so much fun here.
What was your question to me? I can't even.
Oh, President Clinton, who, by the way, is a hell of a party guy. I like this guy.
Yeah.
All right, be quiet. We were at this place called Tattletales, and the girls there took off everything.
Yeah, we do that now. I know what you asked me about.
But you can't smoke a cigar in there. You got to go outside.
That's because people have decided that the secondhand smoke, you know what that is?
No.
Andrew Johnson, first impeached president.
What are you talking about?
Secondhand smoke.
I got two hands.
The secondhand smoke would be if you're smoking a cigar, right? Say we're in a strip club.
Or a pipe.
A pipe or cigar, you're inhaling, but there's smoke coming out. If I'm not smoking, I'm having to breathe in your smoke.
But my lungs already filtered out all the good stuff.
No, we found out through medical science that it's not good for your lungs.
Oh, witch doctor. Anyway, I'll shut up now.
No, and then these guys have been hanging out, Clinton and Johnson, the two impeached presidents.
Try that gravy.
And what's funny is every once in a while, Dick Nixon tries to hang with him, and they
Can I have one of those waffle fries?
Get out of here, loser!
They call him Yella because he saw impeachment and ran.
He's a yellow fella. He couldn't take it. He saw Sam Irvin with his big eyebrows, and he said, I can't stand up to that.
Andrew Johnson was saying some horrible things about Dick Nixon. He's a dandy, huh?
Well, something wrong with that fella. Look at his face.
Andrew Johnson.
I appreciate how honest our panel is.
Yes.
With
What's a Spiro? He picked a guy named Spiro. Some Greek?
It's Spiro Agnew.
Yeah, who's letting Greeks into America?
The nattering nabobs.
Back in my day, we didn't let no Greeks in.
Do you know what nattering Well, things have changed a lot, Andrew Johnson.
I can tell.
Nattering nabobs didn't like Spiro Agnew.
Well, I don't like them either.
Did they ever say nattering nabobs back in your day?
No, we didn't say stupid stuff like that. We said it like it was.
Jared, do you know what the nattering nabobs are?
I have no idea what that is.
Spiro Agnew. You know who that is?
I don't know who that is.
I could tell you.
I know. Dick Nixon can tell you. Before Dick Nixon resigned, before he was impeached, his vice president, Spiro Agnew, was forced out of office. I can't remember what his little scandal was, to be honest with you. Do you remember Dick Nixon? What his scandal was?
He was innocent.
Okay.
I would have pardoned him, but I couldn't.
But he was he had a war with the press, maybe not as obvious as or as big as Trump is now, but he called them the nattering nabobs in the press or something
negativity.
Like that. Negativity. The nattering nabobs of negativity. Not a band in Athens. But
Boy, if we had had Twitter, that would have been number one.
It would have been trending, Dick Nixon. I'm sorry that Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton are being so mean to you.
I don't care. They're off eating their gravy fry. Enjoy your cholesterol.
Dick Nixon doesn't know what a smartphone is either. Federal income tax evasion, says
Not
Alan
me.
Hunt.
I didn't do that.
No, it was Spiro Agnew. That's why he had to leave office.
I know what a phone is.
He pled innocent. And you know what a phone is, but you don't know what a smartphone is.
Well, this is a smart thing.
Yeah, you died in...
I've tried having a conversation with it, but it doesn't answer my question.
When did Nixon die? 94, 95, somewhere there?
Yeah, Clinton was president in 94.
Yeah. I remember Clinton speaking at the memorial and Bob Dole breaking down in tears at the memorial. I love that man. All right, what do you got?
Well, one of the things about our panel is at least we're honest with our listeners about things. One of the things I've noticed on CNN over the last couple of days is that the analysts are all kind of saying the same thing about the impeachment hearings.
Oh, isn't it funny? They're saying exactly what the Democrats are saying, which is, I know where you're going here, that the Democrats are focusing on facts and the Republicans are focusing on like narrative or something like that, or they're spinning their own kind of web, which is funny because that's exactly what the official Democrat party line is. It must be so 100% correct that anybody who's smart in journalism would just be. It's not groupthink. They're just both coming to the same obvious correct conclusion.
Now, President Clinton, this guy used to work for you, Joe Lockhart. I think he was your press secretary. He's now
I don't know.
He's now a CNN analyst.
He didn't look at the men.
The Chief Justice's comments were aspirational because they are not living up to this. You have two sides talking past each other. The Democrats are focused on the evidence, what happened, the gravity of the situations. The Republicans are sitting trying to provide sound bites for Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, and Tucker Carlson. So that's all they're trying to do. It's what they did in the House. And I think while the Chief Justice said in equal parts, he was not really speaking to the House managers. He was speaking to the president's legal team.
Oh, wow. I'm glad we had this pundit thing. The Supreme Court, the Chief Justice said, I'm directing to this at both of you. Thank goodness we have smart people on CNN who can read minds. And what they know is that he didn't mean that. Because everybody in America knows and loves Adam Schiff.
U.S. Representatives for 12.
1/53 of California's House delegation is this Intelligence Committee chairman. His name is Adam Schiff.
Oops.
Back to you, Veronica.
Are we back?
Yeah.
I better stop chewing these sunflower seeds and get back to entertaining this fair city.
I've got some news for you, Eric.
Yeah? Hit me with it, Matt.
I'm watching the Twitter trends now, and President Pence has officially jumped National Pie Day as the second biggest trend in America.
Oh, President Pence.
That's right. Give me 4 years and we'll have converted all the homosexuals.
No, President Pence. No.
That's all I need, and we'll be right again.
No, we can't. No, nobody wants to hear that.
All right, we'll leave some on Broadway for your...
Well, President Pence or Vice President Pence. I don't see that as
like
a good...
the ring of President Pence.
Yeah, well, I don't think many people... that conversion...
Fire up the zapper, Jerry.
That conversion thing doesn't work. Zapper? Is it the gay zapper you have?
I call it the zapper.
What, are you walking around with a gay zapper?
Oh, look at that guy wearing the ascot.
All of a sudden he's
Want to
straight.
play some football?
That doesn't work. That conversion
sure
therapy,
does.
it just turns people into
zap
liars.
them enough, they'll tell you what you want to hear.
I thought that was something that you had with the Space Force, that little zapper thing that you were carrying around.
Well, he's just trying to make sure that we don't, we don't have homosexuals in space.
No, you don't want gays in space.
Oh, my goodness.
Space is for exploration and spreading humanity, not our deviant sexual ways.
Vice President Pence. This is not how people believe, for heaven's sakes.
Make Indiana straight again.
Going back to be governor, I guess. That's your next governor.
Well, I want to spread Indiana values nationwide, from Maine to Hawaii.
I always wondered, like, what like gay conversion therapy, which is just absurd. But it's almost like telling somebody, okay, you're thinking of a white elephant? All right, I'm going to zap you until you no longer think. I'm telling you right now, never think of a white elephant again. No matter what you do, never think of it. Like, what are the odds?
I'm thinking of a white elephant. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, Mike Pence. I used to long for it, but now it never occurs to me. Right.
No.
But I always think of, like, what it must be. And you ever see Clockwork Orange?
No.
He's violent, and they go to, they put him in a theater-like thing, and they tape his eyeballs open, and he has to just watch violent imagery and then other imagery.
Set to his favorite musician or favorite composer.
So I think of like Mike Pence's gay conversion therapies. They set you in a theater, in a porno theater. And they show you, like, they'll show you like a naked guy, and then you get zapped. And then they show you a naked girl, and like it smells real nice. There's pleasant music, right? And then they show you a naked guy again. And finally, after like 12 hours of this,
it worked.
You're cured. You're no longer.
I'm cured.
What an absurd notion.
I know.
And we have a conversion machine that's going to make you stop longing for it. It would be like me saying, you know what? I like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches so much. I have to have one every day. They're just so delicious. Oh! And if you just shock me.
You like tuna now.
After a while. I say, you know what? Just tuna fish sandwiches. Leave me alone. I don't like peanut butter and jelly anymore. I will tell you this. Maybe we'll get to it later on. Autumn, look up from your phone because I'm talking to you.
I'm listening to you.
Yeah. A little loud there. A little hot. Mike's a little hot.
Yeah.
We have an open mic here. I'm going to do it now. Maybe a little bit later. So we have Dr. Joe on deck, who's really taking you to task. But the reason that we're going to do this is because we had it just came up out of nowhere, but it was on the podcast 30 yesterday. We had a very interesting conversation about sexuality that came out of nowhere. And, you know, when I go home, the show is always in my head, and usually I just feel terrible about something stupid I said or whatever. But I was after that show, I was like, I was so, like, I love it when I know that we have talked about something that no other show, because that was a weird, not weird, but it was a very. It was nuanced.
Yes.
And
dynamic.
The question that I was asking was about sort of enlightened, orthodox ways of thinking. Well, anyway, one of our listeners is the person that I brought up in my hypothetical. Cool. Well, okay. You'll say that to you. He's really sick and tired of your point of view. He calls it, what do you call it? He calls it a television
lifestyle
version of what homosexuality is. He says,
correct.
Autumn's point of view is gleaned from television, movies, and podcast, as opposed to real people. But
totally
try to get to that a little bit later. It's a very interesting call because he's a little exasperated in the. He left 2 open mics, and he's a little exasperated on the second one. But he's sick and tired of Autumn, aren't we all? He's sick and tired of Autumn.
Yeah, right. But why can't the lady get out of here?
I don't think he really calls names. He's just had enough of it. Let's do this.
Okay.
Sparring with Dr. Joe.
That sounds a little bit. Play that Hamilton music. A little bit like that. So I never saw this Hamilton. Sorry, hello, Dr. Joe. We're talking about Hamilton because Schiff realizes that Hamilton's the most popular founder right now because of that musical. So I brought him up in his opening argument yesterday an awful lot. Doesn't that sound... Now, this Hamilton's supposed to be the greatest play. I was told that a friend of mine went and saw Hamilton in New York, the original cast, and after it was over, sat there crying, knowing that entertainment and live productions are still alive and well in this country, that musicals could be this good. Now, the stuff I've heard to me, we've talked about this before. It sounds like that sometimes on the local news, you'll see a story about he's the rapping third grade math teacher.
2 + 2 = 4. I'm going to tell you a little more.
Yeah, like that's the kind of rapping.
But for this to succeed, there's someone else we need.
Yeah. All right, stop. I'm Mr. Johnson, and I'm here to say we're going to do mathematics in a new way or something. So, in a different way. So, that music to me sounds like stuff from Star Wars. Like is it the good guys and the bad guys when they start?
It sounds like the Imperial March, which is the Darth Vader.
Nobody picked this up. Nobody picked this up in all of the great reviews of Hamilton that they just stole. And according to Jared, who saw this play,
it is a great play.
Shut up! It's not a play. It's I said
a
play.
musical.
It's a musical. Okay, I said it. Okay, it's a musical play. According to Jared, it's before anything big that Hamilton does or says, you hear that music. And for all those great reviews, nobody picked up that it was a ripoff of the Imperial March in Star Wars. That's not what we're here for, Dr. Joe.
Oh, but it really is. I want to hear the Imperial March.
Dr. Joe, do you know what rosacea is?
I do.
Now, that's what is rosacea? I get it.
The cheeks become flushed.
Yeah. And more apparent in white people than any other people in the world, right?
Obviously,
I bring it up because Alexander Hamilton had horrible bouts of rosacea.
He was ready.
Which is my way of saying he's not that guy you think you know from that musical. Anyway.
Is it from drinking?
No, it's from being pasty white, which is what Alexander Hamilton was. Dr. Joe, we have on to talk about health and lifestyle, go through the stories. What do you got, Jared?
All right, this first one comes from Yahoo Health.
Ooh, they're good.
Why the middle-aged dad bod could be deadly instead of sexy.
I tell you, couldn't it be both?
Yeah.
There's the question.
That's right.
It's dead sexy.
It's deadly sexy. I never bought into the whole dad bod craze. I knew it was just kind of a trend. I don't believe 21-year-old girls and they go, if the bachelor walks in, you're going to walk away with the bachelor 95% of the time. It was kind of I never thought I have a dad bod, but I'm not stupid enough to think that that's the ideal.
You used to have the dad bod.
I have less of a dad bod than I used to, but this is still a dad bod. Believe me. You see me in my underwear sitting on the side of the bed, it's still a dad bod. I've lost 30 pounds, but it's still a dad bod.
Well, here in the studio in your underwear, you look pretty good, though.
Yeah, well, I'm just feel free.
You sit up straighter, I think, here to kind of flatten out the stomach.
I feel
Is that
free.
what it is?
Yeah, I'm
that's
sucking
what
it in. Yeah. So the dad bod, my understanding, I've always been told about weight. I don't know if this is true or not. The people who have the guts that stick right out,
yes,
not so dangerous. The tire around your waist, the bigger that is, I've always heard that's heart attack fat.
Well, when the gut sticks out, that's organ fat. That's visceral fat.
Oh, you're like eating too much.
Yeah, and that's really bad because
my liver's fat.
Exactly, it's fatty liver,
fat liver disease,
fat around the organs,
fat
and that's what it
liver girls.
Those the original words, right? Yeah, it's fat liver girls.
So, what's dad bod? I think of it just being just generally kind of out of shape.
Out of shape, estrogen dominant.
Oh, big boobs.
That's the big boobs. Yeah.
Well, and the more fat that you have in your body, the more circulating estrogen you create.
Right. Estrogen.
How come I never got the boob? I never got the man boob thing.
Never got gynecomastia?
No, I never got gynecomastia.
You probably didn't have that much of an estrogen dominance.
But then again, I've never been to a gynecologist.
That's true, yeah.
I've never been checked.
That's where you get them.
Buy them there.
So what is it? Just because I'm tall? No, I mean, I've been overweight. I lost 30 pounds.
Right. Well, you can be fat and have somewhat estrogen, but if you're exposed to a lot of estrogen, chemicals that can mess with the estrogen, they're called hormone inducers.
Yeah.
So chemicals, hairsprays, colognes, anything that
I
has
don't do
artificial.
colognes.
Yeah.
You look like a man that wears cologne.
I hate cologne.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Jared wears cologne.
I don't wear.
No, he gets a skunk.
Yeah.
And he sprays it on himself.
It?
And he gets a little lavender oil and it makes his musk.
Right. Oh, that's the musky
When I was
smell.
16, I went through a musk phase.
Oh, nice.
Was it Jovan?
Jovan Musk.
Yeah, and I had no idea. I was such an idiot. I want to meet girls. I mean,
did it work?
I don't know. I think I did. I remember one time I was with this girl, and we'd been together for a little while, which at 16 means 2 months.
2 weeks, yeah, right.
Yeah. It was like the long. I thought we would be together forever.
Ever.
And she was talking to me about something, and she goes, And then I knew that you were there because because it smelled like you in the room. I'm like, whoa, maybe I'm using too much of that musk.
Yeah.
No, I would like that.
But I think I was.
If I liked the smell.
Believe me, I had no concept of portion control. I'm sure I was just pouring it over my head.
But endocrine disruptors, these are the chemicals you'll find in fragrances. That gets into the body and acts like estrogen. So it acts like estrogen. The body produces more estrogen, which causes you to lay down fat. Fat produces estrogen, which causes you to lay down fat.
And ultimately, you get the heart attack syndrome.
Yes, exactly, because the estrogen weakens the muscles, because testosterone keeps the muscles strong, and your heart's a muscle.
Yeah.
So that's why that dad bod
So just stop eating. Is what
stop eating bad
just
stuff.
Stop
certainly.
eating, for heaven's sakes.
Or if you have a lot of money, it doesn't matter. You go find a lady. It doesn't care what kind your body got.
Anti-Dr. Joe. His advice.
That's it. That's his approach.
You go to seeking arrangements, sign up, get a nice young lady to come over, and she don't care. Just give her a little money.
You know, the guy who does Anti-Dr. Joe, he seems to know a lot about that world.
He thinks it's funny.
A lot of source material.
He thinks it's funny that people would actually do that.
He's done a lot of research.
Yeah, I never bought the whole dad bod thing. That was just a little stupid thing.
Yeah, and
millennials like to make you believe that they're just like everybody else. They like symmetry, and
of
they
course,
just the same as everybody
eye candy.
else. You see all these hot girls on The Bachelor. I do a lot of charity. Oh, right.
But also, I want to say the guys who are getting like super pumped up muscles, like gigantic, they're doing that for other dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Because women, I mean, I'm not saying that there are zero women that care about that, but most women do not care about gigantic muscles on top of you.
Most women care about a gigantic wallet. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's what I was
Ladies
saying.
be shopping, am I right?
That's the kind of weight that you could never get too much of.
That's right.
That one, no matter how
pocket.
fat that wallet gets,
His
you
wallet
won't
was
scare.
so fat.
Oh, wow. He's got a dad wallet.
He's got a huge 401k.
That's like I always said, if I ever went to one of these EDM shows, I'd be like, I call myself Grandpa Ecstasy.
Yeah.
Hey, kids, anybody want to let me in the van?
Excuse me, sir. Sorry.
I can buy all the ecstasy you want. Hey, ladies. All right, what's the
Come
next
on
story?
in, Grandpa.
All right, this one comes from healthline.com. The older you are, the less narcissistic you tend to be, guys.
Yes.
You believe that?
Yeah, you've had your butt kicked enough. You realize that you're not a pompous jerk. You know, you can't.
I don't
get away with
understand what
this
this has to do with me.
No, yes. See, you're not at the age yet.
Yes.
Oh.
I think overall, I don't know about narcissism, but I think that as you age, you get context and you're more mellow. It's weird to me that I'm 55 years old, and when I was 25, I worried about death way more than I do at 55.
Isn't that true?
Yes.
It gets easier.
I'm less just sort of self-centered, I think, and more willing to just accept things as they are. And along with that, you just accept that you're not, the most important person in the world or the most beautiful person in the world.
Less to be conceited about, too. I mean, you know, so you're not as good looking, you're not as charming, you don't have the energy you used to have. So, the narcissism kind of is forced to the wayside.
Okay, but for me,
yes,
I just think that, this study really speaks to me because
to you.
I have a lot of demons, but I'm a really good person. And
are you telling
I think
or asking?
that no, I tell the truth. I will tell you the truth.
There's a lot of I in your.
She's awfully young, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She is.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, listen, the older you get, the less of that you have. You're not look, once you hit 70, you lose all your narcissism.
Yeah, so you have no narcissism
None
left.
at all. See, that's the study. Submit it to the Senate.
Is that part of your defense?
You just ask Trump and he tells you the answers to the studies.
That's right.
Yeah, you just submit that as part of your defense.
Hey, look,
it's impossible.
Look, there's a study. I'm not narcissistic.
Narcissus was it Greek or Roman mythology?
Roman?
Was it Roman or Greek?
Well,
Roman.
if only we had
a machine that would fit in the palm of our hands that had all the answers.
Who cares?
Greek.
Call it a fable.
Anyway, it was Greek. That's how Narcissus sounds like Greek. You were wrong.
My bad.
Apologize to the audience.
But when I'm wrong, it just feels
you feel
like
validated.
it's my truth.
Yeah, you're validated.
I'm disappointed.
Hold on. Didn't he freeze? He's staring at his own face in the water, his own reflection.
I thought he drowned.
Narcissus, yes.
So he hypnotized himself with his face and then he drowned in the water?
I think so. Don't listen to me.
Ah,
I don't know it.
Greek mythology. Yeah.
The Von Haessler Doctrine.
He's extremely funny, he's got a great sense of humor, and he brings a lot of good content to the air.
On 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Dr. Joe, how come I didn't get any snacks?
I got them right here for you.
Every couple
Laid
of weeks,
out. They're right. I got them right when you walked in.
Get here. Stop giving me the stupid roll wraps or whatever.
All right, you don't like that. Okay. I got a nut bar.
You know what I like?
Cashews.
Pretzels. You know I like pretzels.
Cashews coming over.
Don't throw things at me.
Okay.
Don't
throw
nuts
at him.
Keep your nuts to yourself.
Come to me.
You have a Autumn. Never mind. We have her here for her mind.
Yes.
All right. Now, what do you got for me?
I got another one from Yahoo Lifestyle. Smoking marijuana.
What are you? These guys getting money on getting kickbacks from Yahoo Lifestyle?
Yahoo Health, Yahoo Lifestyle, Yahoo cell phones.
Serious?
Sometimes you have to have side hustles that pay the bills.
It is true. This is a gig economy.
Yeah. All right. So smoking marijuana may be dangerous for your heart, study finds.
Oh, wow.
Shocking.
Didn't, who was the libertarian candidate that I voted for? Gary Johnson? Yeah, no. The fifth Marx brother. Aleppo. No, it didn't. That came up because he admitted that he smoked pot.
Yes.
And didn't he, do that thing where he suddenly pretended he had a heart attack and fell off the chair? It didn't look good for a presidential candidate, but it was kind of funny. So I don't think this is new. So what is the...
And you can wear...
What is that?
That was an ad.
Oh, okay. What are you trying to pull source material from YouTube again? So where is this? Where does this come in?
Well, the problem
anything can be bad for your heart.
The medications are being processed in your liver and broken down. So we say, okay, you're going to take this dosage. We know what the liver is going to do with it, how much it's going to get out to the body. Then when you throw pot in the mix, that also gets processed in your liver.
Oh, so it's messing with the other stuff that is in there. The liver's like, hey, I'm having enough trouble with the acetaminophen.
Right, exactly.
Even if you're smoking it, how does it go through your liver if you're smoking it?
Well, anything that goes into your blood gets filtered through the liver. So, it's getting into your blood system. And so,
I'm just curious.
Yeah, dummy.
Researching. Tim's researching,
It's in your blood, dummy.
Yeah. So it's just putting...
How does it get in your blood if it's in your mouth?
I don't understand.
Just putting such a strain on the liver is what it is, and that's where the problem comes in. And
adds, it should be the only drug you have in your liver at a time.
At a time, exactly, yeah. So pot, then other medications.
Dr. Joe says just keep on going.
Don't worry about it. If you got a vape, especially if it's a homemade vape, it doesn't matter. And if you go out and get yourself a brownie, get yourself a pot brownie.
It's still going to get in your blood system.
No, but get the one with the chocolate chips and the peanut butter chips, and it tastes like a real brownie, except for, it tastes that grassy thing,
What's
but it's
more
good.
like?
That means it's working.
Hey, excuse me. This is Donna from Dunwoody.
Hey, Donna from Dunwoody.
Hi. I've been trying to make my own homemade vape, a DIY vape, but it keeps exploding. What can I do?
You need to go to a vape place and wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Just tell them, look, I'm making a vape thing, and I don't really vape, the tobacco.
Yeah.
And wink, wink. And look, if it happens, just get a liver transplant. They're like $1 now. They're like $1, $2.
Anti-Dr. Joe has all the answers.
Yes, money can buy health.
Okay, what I would say is a lot of things are bad for you. Is this worse for your heart, marijuana?
Uh-huh.
Is it worse for your heart than people at work, I don't know, eating donuts every day just because donuts are there and you're there? Which one would you say is actually worse for your heart?
Tough call. It's Sophie's choice there. So
really?
Yeah.
It's a tough call?
Yes.
I'll bet you donuts to Dimebags.
I got to throw this in there.
Yes.
We're doing a live lounge for my show Tuesday night right here at the studio at Channel 2 upstairs.
Yeah.
So I'd love to have you guys in the audience. So if you go to my website, drjoe.com, right underneath my picture, there's a blue link. Tap on it and you can apply. We only have so many tickets, but we'd love to have you come out Tuesday night for a live lounge to see us film our TV show.
Am I allowed to vape?
You can vape all you want.
I'm there.
Homemade.
Hour 3 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins now. I see that Chuck Schumer's giving his daily press conference to let the media know what stories that he would like them to follow and what point of view.
Please
yes.
follow my instructions and make sure that we are talking about Hamilton.
He's got, because the kids like Hamilton.
Everybody loves
He's got that. And a pasty old white guy. Who's that from Hawaii? Is it Hazy Maroney or whatever?
Yeah, Hazy Morano.
Hazy Marini. Hazy Maroney.
Dumbest member of
She was the one who told that all men should shut up.
Yeah.
Sit down during the Kavanaugh thing. She had the, I believe that crazy hazy Marani.
Crazy, hazy, Hawaiian, whatever.
Speaking of which,
he's a sleazebag.
Yeah.
Well, not her.
No, he's saying he. Do you have the full one on that? Was he talking about, who's he talking about on that? I think it's, might be Nadler.
He's a sleazebag.
He's a sleazebag.
Gerald Nadler. I've known him a long time. He's a sleazebag. Everybody knows that. A sleazebag.
I love how he confirms things by saying everybody knows that.
Everybody knows he's a sleazebag. He's a sleazebag.
Because you know what that does is makes you think, oh, I didn't know that, but I want to be cool too because I'm part of everybody.
Well,
he's a sleazebag.
Everybody I know.
I think it's quite possible. I don't know because before we had television, maybe back in Andrew Johnson's day.
What are you talking about?
I was wondering if it's the first president to ever use the word
sleazebag.
Sleazebag. That's what we kept the drippings in. You want to know what kind?
No, sir, I do not.
Yeah, I'll tell Bill. He'll get a laugh out of it.
He's a sleazebag.
I like this Bill guy. He would have been great back in my day.
You didn't know that because you died a long time
ago.
Well,
sure, I died. Yeah, I died a long time ago.
You didn't realize that there was another impeached president. There's a 2-member club.
Well,
you and this Bill Clinton.
Me and this Clinton fellow, who, by the way, ladies like him.
Yeah.
He's a sleazebag.
No. Well, maybe in today's parlance, but not back in the day.
Yeah, he's got that. They worry about that. You ever hear of Jeffrey Epstein? Andrew Johnson.
Is he a rabbi?
No, he was a friend of a lot of Democrats. Turned out that he wasn't.
He was a secessionist.
He was no. He was.
He was in favor. He was in the Ku Klux Klan.
No, he was a guy who facilitated. Let's say older guys could have younger girlfriends. He had this plane called the Lolita Express.
Lolita.
Yeah, and
what's that?
Well. It's too much.
There's a lot. This is a lot.
It's a lot.
I know. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you didn't have a Jeffrey Epstein back in your day.
No, we had the Connie Conestoga. You go out west with a nice young filly.
He's a sleazebag.
You know, we need a montage.
Yeah.
So that, we need a montage segment of the show.
Yeah.
So that we can fill him in on all the things that have happened since he died.
Yeah, Andrew Johnson, first impeached president.
Was that a woman?
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, I have a woman. She's on the show.
So you guys have a maid for the show?
No.
Yeah.
Andrew Johnson.
No. I'm here for my opinions and my voices.
I knew this was a comedy.
No, that's the way the world is
the
now.
world's different. Andrew Johnson, first impeached president. The world's different
no wonder
now.
It's a mess.
Off air,
my dad didn't even give permission for me to be here.
Yeah. Things have changed, Andrew Johnson.
I'll say.
Off air, he said this is a future he doesn't want to be a part of.
Yeah, although he's having fun with Bill Clinton.
He's great. Listen, I'm trying to teach him. You leave him with me. I'll make sure he knows what's going on.
Right, you have to pretend you're in favor of women's rights, right, Bill Clinton? Before you can have your fun.
You can
fake it until you can make it.
Fake it till you make it is what I always say.
He's a sleazebag.
No, I'm not. You're a sleazebag, even though I like you and you gave me a lot of money. Thank
you. Sleazebag.
I appreciate all the money. I ain't giving it back.
Who'd you vote for again, Bill Clinton, in the last election?
Well, let's just say,
it
wasn't
an easy
lady.
question.
It wasn't a lady.
Right.
There are two. So you decide.
Okay.
You want to open up the headlines?
I want to open the headlines. We've been talking about Alexander Hamilton and that stupid play, the musical. Sorry on him, because Schiff was bringing his name up as much as possible because the kids love him apparently. So this was the music. You saw the musical.
Yeah.
And we realized that.
And I enjoyed it.
Let's hear that big music. That happens, I guess, before Alexander Hamilton does anything in the musical.
Correct.
Hamilton. And then I says to myself.
I says
to myself, that sounds like the Imperial Death March. So. Nobody picked up on this in all the rave reviews?
Luke, you've been had. Darth Vader is really your dad.
I'm gonna play them on top of each other now. You ready?
Yeah.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, it's damn close.
Yeah, it's like Under Pressure and Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah, it's the same damn thing.
Dun 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 dun.
Or
Well,
dun 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 dun.
dun 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 dun. It's different.
It's different. Is it different?
There's like a little dun 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 dun. There's like
It's
an extra
the same
little dun.
damn thing in there.
I agree, but
that's
I'm
why you had
saying
to pay
this is
them
how they
money.
get away
When
with
I was always a Beatles fan, and when I was younger, I went and bought this album. This is like 1979 or something, or 80. I went and bought this album called Beatles Rarities.
I have the gray one.
I think it had pictures in there. Like it had the picture of that album cover. That I don't know why they thought they were going to get away with the baby dolls and the
with the meat.
What?
Yesterday and today.
Yeah, it was like the actual album cover ended up being them in a
like a suitcase
trunk kind of thing. But the first version, they all had like white doctor smocks on, and they were holding baby dolls, naked baby dolls with slabs of meat all over them.
Yeah, like blood.
So, like 1967, this was supposed to be something like what?
And if you can find a copy of that, that's worth a lot of money.
Well, it was a picture inside the Beatles Rarities. But they would really cheat because they had to have two sides of a record. So they put "I Am the Walrus" on there, which is like what, a 7-minute song or something. And they have the whole song on there, but like your dun 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 thing, they tell you what to listen for in the liner notes. And apparently, you know how it goes dun 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 dun. Apparently, it does that dun one more time, but they use all 7 minutes of the song to fill up record time. It's like I don't really need the whole thing to just point out that there's one little difference. Yes.
Would you like to open up our headlines?
Is that a proposition?
Yes.
Ooh.
I don't know.
You can open up my headlines.
I'll tell you what. First of all, you buy me a drink. And then maybe we'll do this. I'm pointing. I'm saying let's do this. I'm pointing.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry. And I'm not throwing away my shot.
I know. It sounds like Speedy Gonzales or something.
I know. Why does he sound like that? He doesn't sound tough.
I'm not throwing away my shot.
Well, he did lose the duel. He was killed by Ironside.
Yeah, but that song is about bravado.
I thought he was killed by Ironside. That was Raymond Burr. Perry Mason killed one of our founding fathers?
The Von Haessler Doctrine.
No, what's the matter? What's going on back there, Alan?
What is happening?
Hey, you know what? I have a story for you. Don't worry.
You want to play the open mic talking to me?
What, are they letting President Johnson run the board?
What's this do?
What's a board?
What's this newfangled stuff?
Look at all these lights.
I don't know, but I'm going to impeach Alan Hunt if he doesn't get this machine working right.
Well, this leads right into the story here. A British study finds that men are twice as emotional than women at work.
Now, I'm guessing that you probably brought this up because you thought I'd be like, well, that's not possible because the ladies and the estrogen and the hysteria. But no, I think I could see this being true because men get totally freaked out. What are you looking at me for?
Well, you've lived it.
Tim Andrews, he was worse when he was my producer. Oh, my
I'm not
goodness.
like that anymore.
Not so much.
No, I keep a check on it.
You do keep a check on it.
What, twice in 5
It's for me to
years?
say that, not you.
Yeah.
What are you giving your own job? You sit down for a yearly
Performance review?
Performance review with yourself in the mirror?
Yep.
You know what, Tim? You're doing A-okay.
By me. My point is that I'm not that way so much.
Yeah. Now, if you wanted to have a misogynist, sexist point of view, we'll say, yeah, of course. Well, the weight of the world is on the man. He's got to feed his family, so he's likely to crack under pressure quicker than the lady who's just there because she wants to, experience life.
What's it like to work? It sounds so fun.
You know, there's a place. I believe that you can only do good work if you have to. I don't think you do good work because you're going to dabble in something. And there is a phenomenon. You could go both ways, right? I mean, if the lady is the breadwinner, CEO of a company, and you're married to her, and maybe you stay-at-home dad or whatever, I think the same thing could happen in reverse. Well, you're laughing. This does happen.
I was thinking of John Lennon.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking of John Lennon, too. That stay-at-home dad nonsense.
Yeah.
He had like 5 nannies and a personal assistant. He had 1 kid. Yeah, he's a real stay-at-home
He
dad.
wasn't schlepping Sean to the grocery store and having him screaming.
Yeah, and whenever his one kid that he was a stay-at-home dad with, it started crying too much, and this is a known fact because his personal assistant wrote a book about it, he would just like bring him take him, get him away from me.
Take him away. I need to tie off now.
I need a little heroin to get through this stay-at-home dad nonsense. But what I noticed is this little, as I go home on Atlanta Street, there's this little area right next to the Roswell Park. And it's like a little one-way side road you go through. But there's like a little businesses there. And they just turn over and turn over and turn over. And they're all, I can tell, like bored housewives who, I'm telling you this happens. I want to work too. I want to, it's like, so it'll turn, it's like a
It was a vegan cupcake shop.
It was
for a
a
while.
vegan cupcake shop. That didn't last long. It was like a handbag shop. This is like, they ought to name this Bored Housewife Lane, with the businesses that pop up and go out of business. This is on a rotation basis.
The sleaze bag.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You talking about me? Wake up, WSB. I can't believe you be playing them commercials by Bloomberg.
I'm Mike Bloomberg, and I approve this message.
When am I going to have a musical? The Bloomberg, I'm Mike Bloomberg.
Yada, yada, yada.
I made it so you can't get a large soda in New York.
I'm Mike Bloomberg.
Hey, how's he doing? I think his thing of not being in the debates and just buying a million commercials is kind of working in the Democrat primary.
Most polls have him in fourth. I mean, he's doing
nationwide polls. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's got all the money. See, that's the thing is, I think that the system of primaries and caucuses, it might be going down the drain if just billionaires are going to run.
Well, Democrats hate
Trump
billionaires
didn't really need it.
so much they're going to allow a billionaire to take over their party.
Well, a billionaire took over the other party, so it can happen. But I think that, the way to get into these debates, you have to have so many individual donors, plus be in 2% in the polls or whatever their standard is now.
Correct.
In so many polls. If you're just a billionaire who's spending billions of dollars, you only have one donor. So it's not possible to make any of the debates. So he must be thinking, because one of his commercials was, I've never taken any money from anybody ever for politics. So he's not going to do it. So that means his strategy is, I don't make any of the Democrat debates, but he's got billions of dollars. So he can stick around through Super Tuesday and all that and still be there, because he doesn't need, Amy Klobuchar needs to be in the debates. She needs to be seen. Bloomberg doesn't, because he said he's willing to spend $2 billion to become president of the United States to save poor people from rich people in power. So his whole thing is, he's a billionaire who's willing to spend $2 billion to get into power to protect poor people from rich people in power. I think it's going to work.
I can't believe the Democrats would allow another white male in the
That's
mix.
all apparently they've got. It's all because the other people, like Cory Booker was not a good candidate. The big disappointment was Kamala Harris, who I thought, Kamala, you just let everybody. I thought you were going to be a good candidate.
It just gives me more time to focus on getting rid of this president.
Excuse me?
It gives me more time to focus on getting this president out of office so we can move forward with our democracy.
Couldn't you have done that better as the nominee of the Democrat Party?
No, I need to be in the Senate unlike the other four who are in the Senate but are also judging the president.
Can you do me a favor and say one ringy-dingy?
One ringy-dingy.
Is that the truth? Welcome back. I'm Eric Von Haessler, and I have never had sex with Nick Cannon. I just want that on the record.
Sure. We believe you.
There's no need.
Uh-huh.
I can't get into it now. It's complicated.
Sweetie, we believe you. It's okay, honey.
Thank you. I appreciate you. It doesn't matter whether or not I tried, Alan. The point is that I personally have never had sex with Nick Cannon, and I want that on the On the record.
Did he do something to you?
Listen to me.
What is sex?
Yeah.
You guys talking about is? This is a good time to have our impeachment panel, Bill Clinton. So we have only half an hour here, and there's a lot of things that I would like to get to and run through. So one thing is, this is how dumb and predictable 24-hour news networks are. I guarantee you that right now, and you may see, if he says yes, you may see him within the next 48 hours. But I'll guarantee you that at least at MSNBC and CNN, producers are working their behinds off to get that guy, what's his name? Lin-Manuel, whatever.
Miranda
behind Hamilton. And they want him to be on their network to talk about what Alexander Hamilton would think about the Trump impeachment.
That's a good point.
This is how stupid they are. They will bring him on because he wrote a musical that completely and totally, almost 100%, changed the facts of the life of Alexander Hamilton. But I guarantee if they can, they will. Strike me dead right now if there are not people at CNN and MSNBC behind the scenes busting their behinds trying to get this Manuel, what's his name?
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Miranda, who, by the way, it's not too soon to say, one-hit wonder has failed at everything. And you know
he did a lot of Moana.
You know what the big fail? You know what the big fail is? The next big fail is going to be after Cats. The idiot that's going to put up the money to make the movie Hamilton the musical.
He's busy right now, Eric.
Yeah.
Hamilton creator Lin-Manuel Miranda and AOC team up to boost census participation with PSA.
And it will not be above this man to basically say, you don't know anything about Hamilton. I wrote a musical about him. Let me tell you something that I know as a guy who wrote a musical that changed the life story of one of the founders. He definitely would be in favor of removing Trump from office. I know this because I wrote a musical about him.
And I watched the musical, and it really just struck me about how so many things apply to today.
Yes, AOC?
Yes, and it was something that just really was empowering, and to see what he did as someone from his ethnicity. I think it just is important to have different faces out there.
He was a pasty white guy, Alexander Hamilton.
No, not him. I'm talking about Lynn.
Oh, okay.
This lady's in Congress.
Excuse me. This is the first impeached president, Andrew Johnson.
Who?
Yeah, he was the first impeached president, Andrew Johnson, and
so he must have been like really bad, like Trump.
Well, he didn't. He wasn't removed. Bill
Clinton.
Clinton. Bill Clinton was impeached. You like him?
Yeah,
right?
I know.
So
go easy on her. She's nice looking.
Andrew Johnson. Yes, we now have female.
I can't see her.
We have women. Yeah, absolutely. It's America.
That's crazy.
2020.
That's crazy. That's no wonder you're in the predicament you're in now.
All right, Andrew Johnson, we may have heard enough from you in your day.
I tell you, man, take a look at her. She used to work for Ted Kennedy.
Well, you know why AOC is such a big fan of Lin-Manuel?
Yeah.
It's because before Hamilton, he did the Bring It On, the musical.
Oh, okay.
And that was really good back in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, he does have other things. You can't say he's a one-hit wonder. I'm sorry.
Everybody
because
loved
he
that.
did a bunch of other
Everybody loves the Mary Poppins thing. Yeah, that was a big hit.
No, that's
huge
true. That's
hit.
fine. I give you that.
Big hit. Hey,
he did the music from.
We're going to satisfy that want that you've never had, America. A sequel to the Sound of Music. Mary Poppins. Everybody wondered what happened next.
Yeah, he also did Moana, and he's
What's
doing
Moana?
In the Heights. Moana is a really good Disney Pixar movie.
Yeah, but your daughter's not allowed to dress up like her for Halloween because that's cultural
That's not
appropriation.
true. That was a bunch of hype.
All right, hold on.
Fake news.
He's also failed at many other things.
Sure, but haven't we?
I heard that Apple turned him down for a credit card. These are just rumors. These are just rumors.
It's because of his ethnicity.
Is that what you need to do something? What did you just say? Ethnicity?
His ethnicity.
Thank you, AOC. It's always
You're
good.
welcome.
Here's something. I'm just going to be bouncing around this half hour. A couple days ago, I mentioned something, and I didn't follow through, and I do want follow-through. I told you guys that this ridiculousness of the impeachment is going to be so mind-numbing, and if it only lasts a couple of weeks, that we all had to pick something to learn so that when it's over, we can say we've learned something that we didn't know before. And I wanted you guys to pick what you were going to do. I've chosen mine because it's something I've always wanted to know that I don't know, and it's doable within 2 to 4 weeks, and maybe even less than that. So I've always not liked the fact that I don't know how to give the Heimlich maneuver. You know, because like it could happen to your kid or whatever, and
Tim?
Or yourself.
I can do it to myself if I need to.
So,
the Heimlich maneuver, thank you.
Oh. Yeah, I can't do that one.
So I'm going to learn how to do the Heimlich maneuver.
Okay.
All right, and that way when all this mind-numbing madness is over, this brain-deadening thing, these charlatans and their kabuki theater, I will be able to say, well, I know something now that I didn't know before the impeachment trial. I know how to give the Heimlich maneuver. Tim Andrews?
What are you going to do with the rest of the 48 hours or 500 hours? It takes 2 minutes to learn the Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Huh?
It's nothing.
Can I tell you this? And I will also be able to give you a brief on the life of Heimlich.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, a book report?
A book report on the guy, on the dude, because I interviewed him once.
Yeah.
I interviewed him on the radio once.
Gustav Heimlich was a man. He was a very important person. He invented the Heimlich maneuver. It has saved many lives.
I am going to write a musical called Heimlich. Give me the music there. Heimlich.
I'm joking.
I'm not going to choke to death.
That's right. You're not going to choke.
I'm not going to choke to death.
He works hard for his...
He saved me. Heimlich. He saved me from choking on food.
I am going to learn the Heimlich maneuver and write a musical
love you,
called
Dr. Heimlich.
Heimlich. What are you, Tim Andrews? What are you going to learn?
Oh, I think I'm going to learn how to clip my fingernails.
That is not even a funny remark. Now what? And I'll clip them off, and they'll be off for good.
I was thinking about learning some Chinese.
Ni hao.
I know what that means.
How sure?
Is that ni hao is orange soda, right?
Tout petit.
What's that?
Excuse me. Tout petit.
Well, you sound to me like as if you already know how to speak the
I know two words,
language.
two things. The ancient language.
Well, how many?
You say how? Well, there's a bunch of different
time.
Chinese too.
Yeah.
Yeah, which one?
Cantonese,
Mandarin, Cantonese? What are you
I'm going to
do?
learn Cantonese since it's not
So you're going
useful.
to do this in 4 weeks, 3 weeks, two
Well,
to
I
3
didn't say I was going to learn the whole language and learn how to
Will
write
you
it.
be able to speak to me in a paragraph of Chinese by the end of the impeachment trial?
I'll be able to have a basic conversation with you.
Well, I don't speak Chinese. So.
Maybe he'll be able to say, I need to practice Chinese. Or like, I don't speak Chinese. Stuff like that.
I want you to be able to say to me, I do not speak Chinese very well, but I'm trying.
Okay.
Jared Yamamoto?
I got an easy one. I'm traveling to Greece this summer for the first time.
Yeah, but that's a summer. I'm talking about this by the end of the impeachment trial.
I know. I've downloaded a language app, and I had zero Greece. Greek. So I'm learning
This is the
Greece.
sentence you need to be able to say to me at the end of the impeachment trial.
Okay.
My girlfriend pretends to be Greek, but 23andMe says she's Italian.
Yeah, he's going to learn Italian secretly.
Autumn?
I want to learn how to do a cartwheel.
All right. I'll have to trust you on it. It's hard. It's an audio medium.
I'll make a video and I'll
Okay.
post it on all the things.
All right. Well, that's good. What's the matter with you, Jared? I got to learn a whole language. She's got to learn how to do a cartwheel. Hey, she's 37 years old. 2 kids in. Right? That first cartwheel does not come easy. Talk about a mind blower. I'm reading this book about Kurt Gödel. It's got those that umlauts over the O, Godel.
Gödel.
He's got this incompleteness theorem, and basically what he proved was that that there is truth that you can't prove all truth. So that there are things that are true that it is impossible to prove.
Like my truth.
Like your truth, AOC.
Yeah.
But you get into this thing and it's just a mind blower. It's a mind blower. I can't explain it here in the last couple of minutes. So instead, let's just make fun of Joe Biden. You got Cut 17 over there. Who was this? Was this one of those right-wing guys that was after him? No,
it's just a regular reporter.
Oh, it wasn't that dude from the Veritas or whatever? I thought it was that dude.
No, that wasn't the Project Veritas
Who
guy.
am I thinking of? James O'Keefe.
Yeah, no, James O'Keefe is
He's a
busy
bit of a creep, isn't
going
he?
after...
It's kind of like the right-wing Michael Moore.
Well... No one's paying attention to his latest videos, but they're very revealing.
Here's the problem. If you make one video where you did things so wrong that you actually go to jail for it, people tend to,
Yeah, well, we know the Bernies are Bolsheviks.
Yeah. Is that what happened? Didn't he? What did he do? He did one of these. He pretended to be telephone repair people or something to get to
Planned
mic up
Parenthood.
to mic up an office or something.
Oh, no, a congresswoman's office.
Yeah,
yes.
and they say it turns out that's against the law.
Yeah,
can't do
but
that.
His recent stuff has been really good, but no one will cover it.
Well, nobody watches Michael Moore's movies either.
Well, that's true.
That kind of thing is just out of fashion.
He's not easy to look at.
You saying this James O'Keefe is a...
He's easy on the eyes.
Oh, yeah? Good-looking fella,
Yeah,
huh?
not eating constantly and lecturing.
So he was being asked... I can't... What was Biden being asked about that he lost his mind?
His beef yesterday that was going around between he and Bernie, where they asked Bernie if he thought Biden was corrupt, and Bernie said, no, we're fine.
Yeah, and then, okay, so but for some reason, he just kind of freaks out on this guy. Why?
Why? You're getting nervous, man.
Let me hear that again.
Why? You're getting nervous, man. You're getting nervous, man.
Was the guy getting nervous? Was he nervous that he was addressing him?
No, it was very crowded. There was a lot of other reporters there trying to get to Biden, and Biden was being ushered through by handlers, and he just, hey! He turns around, walks back, and goes, "You're getting nervous, man. We're fine.
Why?
Me and Bernie are fine."
It sounds like an alarm went off.
Why?
I taught him that. Wait. Why?
Why?
No. Wait.
Why?
Hey, you're not getting it, Joe. Wait. We'll work on it later.
The raid in Spain.
Yeah, we'll work on it, Joe.
By Joe, I think he's got it.
Why?
It's close enough, Joe. I don't know what else to say.
It's the beginning of da-na-na-na-na, boom, ba-na-na-na-na, boom.
My Sharona.
Yeah, my Sharona.
Joe Sharona.
If I was on like a submarine or something, I would imagine there'd be an alarm that went off.
Oh, there go the claxons.
Now, what else? I want to make sure we don't leave any good stuff. You know, we're not a hack radio show. We're not going to cover the Mr. Peanut pre-Super Bowl tease.
But he's dead.
He's not dead.
He's dead.
Hey, you know how I say the Mr. Peanut people? Good on you. If you're going to waste your money on a Super Bowl ad, you might as well get as much traction out of it as you can.
They're going to replace him with a pistachio.
No, they wouldn't.
Typical.
Well, I guess we'll just have to watch and find out.
Typical pistachios, am I right?
Hey, this just in. 90%,
taking the jobs of
90% of money spent on Super Bowl ads is wasted. Huh. Here's a good, if you're at a big company, not a big one like Budweiser or Coke, it's different for them. They're just keeping their brand around, McDonald's, that kind of stuff.
Hey, remember
but
those?
if you're a big company but not a huge company, here's a good way to find out who you should fire. You open things up to advertising ideas, and the guy who stands up and says, "I think we should make a Super Bowl ad," you get that guy the hell out of your boardroom. He's not going to do you any good. Wasted money. People see it once, right? Costs $1 gazillion, and everybody's taking the opportunity to whiz. And then what happens is everybody tries to out-clever everybody else, and you end up with a lot of really, you don't even know what happened. Like sometimes with Super Bowl ads, somewhere the setup or the punchline got cut out of the ad. Like notice this, by the end of the ad, things are going crazy and fire alarms are going off. Joe Biden, and you don't even know why, because the thing has been massaged by committee so much that they lost the original point. And then
is this for a candy bar or a cell phone package?
I did like the Miller High Life ad. That was 1 second. I believe it was either last year or the year before. That was extremely effective, and the way they marketed ahead of it was
well, that's
great.
the whole thing. That's all you can do, like Mr. Peanut is doing now. You market ahead of it, and maybe you get some traction out of it. But for the most part, let's look at how. Let's wait 3 months and look year to year, Planters Peanut sales, and see if they got a boost from their Super Bowl ad. My guess is they'll be asking themselves, did we spend that money? All right, now we're going to leave these airwaves. Podcast 30 is going to be interesting. We got somebody who is sick and tired, had enough of autumn. You want to join us there? Go to the Von Haessler Doctrine Facebook page or the WSB Radio Facebook page. Click on the red box, and voila, you're watching us do the podcast 30. You're pointing to your phone, meaning if people want to, I don't know why they would want to, but it is available. The impeachment hearing, trial,
that's right.
prosecution, whatever.
WSBRadio.com, the WSB Radio app, and AM 750 beginning at 1.
You're getting nervous, man.
We'll be back tomorrow morning on the radio side at 9 a.m. You're all invited to join us, but until then, thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. All right, folks, where's the drop? That's not a real
Play the
drop.
why. I like you DJing yesterday.
You want to fire me up? You want to get me mad?
Oh my God! You're getting nervous, man.
I'm Kelly Loeffler.
All right, it's the podcast 30.
I got a hey.
We got to do that tomorrow. We got to do Kelly. Roll that over. We got to do Kelly Loeffler tomorrow.
Okay, got it.
Tim Andrews is here.
I'm
J.
Kelly
Rad.
Loeffler, and I'm here
R.I.P.
to
Mr.
say
Peanut.
I'm gonna change everything in a different way.
Hey, Autumn Fisher. Greg Rush joining us from Studio B1. And yes, that's right. I'm sorry, people, but I do not run a hackneyed radio show, media enterprise, so we didn't do the Mr. Peanut is dead story. Sorry.
What?
Sorry.
He's dead.
I
Hey,
know, this is the
Is
first
he
time
allergic?
hearing about
Is he allergic to himself?
Yeah, he ate a peanut.
You're getting nervous, man.
Okay, now Greg was not here yesterday, and we have this open micer who's referring to his newfound hatred of Autumn.
Yes.
Based on a conversation we had yesterday, which I think started because it was like a joke went into a thing, went into an idea. So what happened was little Pete's name came up, and we have this running joke that Autumn wants her son to grow up to be gay. She gave us a report that, hey, he's really into the hairdryer and cosmetology, so, things are looking good. Somehow, but the question that came up was, and the idea here is to get at whether enlightened people can have an orthodoxy that is every bit as imprisoning as unenlightened people. So the question was to Autumn, who I don't know why we think of her as our gay expert. I have no idea why. So I asked her, is it possible, do you think, that a person could be gay, know they're gay, be perfectly cool with being gay, but decide that they just want to stay in the closet because they just want to, and the question is it possible for that person to be happy? Or is the orthodoxy on that no one could ever make that decision and be happy? They would just be fooling themselves. And Autumn and I had an interesting conversation about it. And
we kind of we had to define what closeted meant, what being out of the closet meant.
Right. Well, we got this now. The first one first, not the one that you give me in
I'll go in order.
He left 2 messages. Now, he gets a little heated, but he does not call names, except he lets us know that he's just had enough of you.
What time were these left?
5:30 yesterday.
In the afternoon, not morning.
He must have been listening to the podcast because he calls back. He obviously calls in the first time when we first start talking about it, and then he calls back with, all right, I've had enough.
Correct. Here's the first one.
Here's the first one.
I didn't want it to come to this because I think she's a nice lady, but I'm sick and tired of home. This open mic's probably a complete waste of time, but EVH is talking about perhaps there is someone that has homosexual tendencies and it's not a part of their identity. I completely relate to what he's saying because I'm that guy. I've been with the same woman for 20 years, but I've had homosexual relationships. That's not a part of my identity. It's not a part of what I have to publicly show. It's just something that I keep to myself. And it doesn't matter because it's not who I am. It's a part of what I do.
Okay. That's one thing. I think he fell off a cliff there at the
Yeah.
end. That's the one thing. But then obviously he continues to listen to the podcast, and then he's like, okay.
He left this one at 5:36 for context.
I didn't want it to come to this because I think she's a nice lady, but I'm sick and tired of homosexual arguments from Autumn Fisher. As a person that has had more lovers in that camp than any other, this woman does not know what in the hell she is talking about. She represents a TV version, a stereotype, a caricature of what a homosexual is. She knows nothing about how we live our lives, what we do, what we think, and who we are. She is ridiculous.
Okay, I'd like to. Can I respond? Oh, can I respond?
Can I call that homosexual blowback? Because I think it is. All right.
Can I have a question. Is this guy up?
No.
Hold on, wait, hold on. She has the
Let
right
me
to
respond.
respond.
Yeah.
So the first thing that hits me is he was saying that I think that he was repeating what your argument was. I don't think that he totally described that properly.
No, he's what he's saying is he thinks that you watch famous homosexuals
I'm not
on
talking
TV.
about that. I'm talking about
let's go back to the first part.
what he said about what you are talking about.
Let's hear the first one again.
This open mic's probably a complete waste of time, but EVH is talking about perhaps there is someone that has homosexual tendencies and it's not a part of their identity. I completely relate to what he's saying.
Stop. So I don't think that was your argument yesterday. Your argument was...
I was saying it wouldn't be part of your public identity is what he's saying. What I was
okay,
saying
well,
was
that's fine.
if you agree
with what if you agree with his repeating of what you were trying to say yesterday, then that's fine.
Right.
Second thing was he said that I represent some media version of what homosexuality is.
No, what he's saying is
that my idea of
your
that.
ideas come from famous homosexuals in media.
But I was the one who argued yesterday that there are all kinds of different gay people. Not everyone is, out and, waving the flag and they're just like dudes or ladies who are just gay and you don't even think about it. You know what I mean? And so that's when people say, like, I've never met a gay person. It's like, you probably have. You just don't know because you expect a gay person to be a certain way.
He thinks that you represent yourself somehow as some sort of expert on this topic. And
well, first of all, I'm the only one on the show.
Hold on.
Uh-huh.
I think what he's saying is, if you tell me you're an art expert, show me your degree. Where did you study? How did you? So I think what he's saying is, no, she's just really interested in homosexuals. That doesn't make her an expert on homosexuality.
No one ever said that I was. I'm the only one who has some references that you guys turn to. So that's why I say
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Sure.
Yes.
And lots of other gay culture stuff that I'm into, that I'm interested in.
But see, doesn't that his point? You're into the gay culture stuff. Isn't he saying the same thing? Isn't that a stereotype?
Just because I'm into that doesn't mean that I think that every gay person, should be like that or is supposed to be like that.
See, I don't think that's what he's saying. I think what he's saying is your sources for your notions are thin, surface level.
But my argument yesterday was not that people, if they're closeted, that they should be out of the closet. I wasn't saying that. We found a nuance in the argument that people can't hear because they can't listen. Where it's true that listen, if that was my point yesterday, was that because there are all kinds of different gay people, maybe you're just gay, and someone may see you as, quote, closeted because you're not, running around talking about how you're gay or even having to come out because of whatever. We don't my argument yesterday was that we're all heterosexuals in the closet because we never came out to our parents.
The real question, I think, and I think what he's saying is true for him, is that it's not true that anybody who's in the closet is at war with themselves.
And I never said that they were.
I think he did it first, and then we came around to the nuance.
Which is totally cool.
Well,
I'm
that's
into
fine.
that.
Maybe he should have left a third.
Can I ask a quick?
Yeah, listen, and we're on a podcast, okay? So I am going to make some generalities. I am going to turn things a little bit more black and white, unless we have the time to really go back and forth and talk about something. Otherwise, what am I going to say? Like, well, actually, it's kind of no. Let's make a joke or let's keep talking.
I think that he thinks that you present yourself as some sort of expert on the topic.
I will say that
annoying because I
any argument that's made on the show by someone other than Eric has the pressure of knowing that Eric's going to jump in at any second and cut you off. So you can't always get your full thoughts out either.
No,
I don't know. I didn't hear yesterday's. I didn't hear it.
It was a very full conversation.
It was. And the other day we had one too about recycling. Oh yeah, no, about trash disposal.
Oh yes.
When I told you, I was like, put aside all of the let's really talk about a logic problem, and that I feel like that was a really good back.
You want to talk about a logic problem? Hey, did you hear me? Did you hear the last break, Greg? Before we got into this,
I heard part of it. I do want to say quickly.
My mind is being blown, Greg.
All right, before you get into that, the fact that you do give people. The fact that you do give people room to speak does become a topic of conversation outside the show. It's like, hey, you know what happened today? Eric actually let a conversation take place. So, it's an event.
It's a bad thing.
It's a rare event.
We've done the research, and what people like are shows by committee. They want equally. They want to hear from 6 voices all at once.
What did Jared have to say?
Conversations, thoughtful conversations are not bad things to have. But anyway,
no, not at a party. Not at a party. As far as a presentation, let's do a play on stage as a 3-ring circus and see how that goes. Just everybody just talking.
All right, so what is this thing you're talking about where people...
Can I just ask one question about the last topic before we move on?
All right, Mr. Homophobia.
Yesterday, when you brought the topic up, this is what I thought you were asking. And I don't know how it got beyond that. You're basically, to me, your question was, can a man...
Or
a woman, whatever.
Or a woman.
Be a homosexual and know that they're a homosexual.
Be cool with it inside.
And be totally, hey, this is me. But not presenting themselves that way, not making it their identity, just living a life of a heterosexual person.
But further than that, I would say staying in the closet. I don't mean a Shepard Smith where the people who know.
Right.
Staying in the closet means you don't tell your mom, you don't tell your dad, you don't tell your friends, you don't tell your grandparents.
But you live a homosexual lifestyle.
Yeah, you'd have to be like a traveling salesperson or something.
Question.
Okay, so you're not pretending, you're not like outwardly like with women.
You're not acting
having,
on it
quote,
at all.
girlfriends.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you
See,
could.
that's where the confusion was.
Okay.
See, that guy called in and said, he's married, but yeah, that would fall into it as well. All I'm asking is, what I'm really trying to get to is whether or not enlightenment can lead to rules and sort of what's the word I'm looking for?
Boundaries?
Well, not boundaries, just restrictions. Is only this can lead to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like to me when people say the only way to be successful is to get a high school degree and go to college. Well, no, it's not. It turns out you can be successful. So I think that the orthodoxy and the thinking from enlightened people is the only way a person who is attracted to same sex can be happy, truly happy, is to come out of the closet and be that all that in public and everybody knows.
Was that not
or I'm asking the question. Maybe it's not, but that's the question.
I
I'm
asked
asking.
a gay female friend of mine that question last night. We were talking about it, and she said, yeah, to be 100% happy, she had to come out of the closet. She couldn't live with herself.
Well, here's what this is rooted in.
I'm going to bring a girl home to meet my parents. I have to tell them what's going on.
And obviously, I'm not saying all or nothing. Obviously, for many people, it's true. I'm just saying, is it possible to be in the closet, but in your own skin and your own self, be perfectly fine with it and not be at war with yourself?
But not the majority of them.
No, not the majority.
Yeah.
If you don't hate yourself, I think if you want to find any happiness in life, you got to stop hating yourself. And maybe that's an extreme way of saying it, but you have to be okay with who you are as a person. And if you're okay with a person who is gay but doesn't want to live that lifestyle, then yes, you can be happy.
Comfortable in your own skin is what you're saying, which applies to a million things.
Yes,
I'm out.
But here's what I did. The only way I got to any point in my life where I was like, okay, I think there is potential for me to be all right with being alive is I just had to stop disliking myself. And I wrote in this journal, I just wrote, I forgive you. In response to myself, and it actually went a very long way.
Really, I can see that. I can see it. Tim Andrews. What are you? You're mocking him for forgiving himself.
No, I'm not.
You know, he just passed me a note and said, "I know, Greg. He doesn't deserve forgiveness," which I think is terrible.
What was the mocking?
I don't know.
You know what? Greg's on the
say it.
Greg's right.
No, I literally cannot say
some
it.
things you cannot say. We've known each other. We've all known each other a long time.
A, I was kidding, and B, I can't say what I said.
Yeah.
Greg is spot on with that, and that can be about forgiving yourself for who you feel you are, and also about forgiving yourself for things that go wrong at certain periods in your life.
Isn't it true when you get to that point that you realize that the things that you're forgiving yourself, most of them are things that don't even really need. Like you've made up most of the drama and stuff in your brain that isn't even really true. The Zen people, one of my favorite Zen phrases is making waves when there is no wind. Basically, all you have to do.
Going through too many circumstances in your head.
What?
Like going through too many circumstances,
playing it out.
Just
thinking and playing it out, and that was terrible. And why did I mean, I have had. I don't know if Greg's like this, but for years I would walk around feeling guilty about slighting somebody 10 years after I slighted them. I mean, like it's like, oh, you're such a jerk. It's very easy for me to go in that direction.
Yes. It still
think,
pops up.
I think therapy is good. It occurs to me to myself. I do my own work on myself.
You wouldn't do therapy?
No, I can't sit with people.
You don't know that because you've never done it.
Yeah, you don't know.
I don't need it. I'm not saying. I don't say that in a way.
I know
that
you're not
means,
saying it like I'm better than everybody.
I'm not. It's just that to me, my brain, there's a lot of things that it can't do, but one thing that it can do is sort of self-reflection and recognizing compulsions. Or like OCD type behavior.
But not fully. You're still in your own way to an extent. You may be able to go further than other people in recognizing the thing, but you're still in your own way because it's just you. You can't escape yourself. So sometimes you would probably get something out of it.
Gödel says it's self-reference, which makes it impossible to prove everything that's true, which means that the truth is bigger than the ability to prove things. And that's what's freaking me out, Greg.
Who's Myrtle?
Gödel. Myrtle. She runs the laundry.
It's me. I'm Myrtle. I'm here to tell you the truth. It's too big.
It's mind-blowing. Einstein used to hang out with this guy at Princeton all the time. And it's just once you realize what he proved.
I'm here to blow your mind.
Hey, Myrtle.
Hey, Greg sent me some stuff last week that I read, and then I went over what he sent me with my therapist last week, and we had a real good conversation about it.
Well, that's weird. That's cross therapy.
Yeah, but it's stuff that helps me that has helped him in the past.
That's how they created a mule.
I know. Or a liger. Or a liger.
A liger, yeah.
A Tion.
So,
Tion is my neighbor's name.
So thank you,
Tion me. Don't Tion me and tell me it's raining.
I have one question for that open micer. Is he in the closet to his wife, or has he come out to her?
I don't know that from the thing.
That's what we were talking about before the show.
I'm assuming his wife doesn't know.
I would assume she does.
No,
I would assume she does.
He's not out of the closet if he tells his wife.
But he's on an open
he's not
mic.
in the closet if he tells his wife.
It seems like someone who would go on an open mic and express themselves so freely about having male sexual
he doesn't
partners
usually
in the
do it. It's just that you just drove him to the edge of the...
That's the thing. Can I say that bothers me too, because yes, my first reaction was a generalized thing and we were able to talk about it. But like, how did he not hear the conversation where I was...
Look, he wasn't the only one you upset.
You want to fire me up? You want to get me mad?
Clark Howard.
I know, but me and Clark have a whole history.
Had enough.
I'm tired of you and your pontificating Autumn. You don't know what you're talking about.
Autumn, I was checking to see if you left a third, but this would be the closest in context.
I'm sick of hearing about any of it. Stop playing it on the radio and preempting Rush Limbaugh.
I agree with that. My God, you know who I feel like today? Mike Pence, who got totally ignored by Prince Charles.
Jared, I want you to make a folder of just the great Southern male voices that leave messages on that open mic, because some of them, even though I'm not even listening to what they're saying anymore, I'm just listening to the sound of their voice.
I hope you go to sleep at night.
That get you all sexy excited?
No, it's just so soothing.
Soothing. Hey, does that rattle your lady parts?
Hey, you stupid idiots.
That's my...
I'm sick of hearing about any of it. Stop playing it on the radio and
Don't you want to hear
Rush
him
Limbaugh.
sing like an old country song to you?
Yeah.
Or like tell you about your grandparents,
I'm going to
your
drive my
great-grandparents
truck
building their
down
own
the
house?
Old Town Road.
You know, that used to be my...
Work moonshine in there somewhere.
With moonshine.
One of my...
James painted on tight.
With the mustache. Sam, he was in Star is Born.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott. There in
Coors. The banquet.
There you go, Coors.
For people who think banquets are classy occasions.
Coors.
You can take it to Golden Corral. The banquet.
You guys missed what
Can
used
you
to be
say
one
Coors one more
of
time?
my greatest...
Coors.
You gotta work. See, it's hard to do them because you got that lip that hangs over.
Yeah.
You got to position your
That
lip.
mustache is big, isn't it?
Well, a mustache covers his lip.
Coors.
Coors.
Does that rattle your lady parts?
Australian for beer.
Coors. Stupid for beer.
I watched the Lynch Monkey interview last night. That was awesome.
Don't spoil it. Spoil
I'm not
it?
gonna spoil it.
Spoiler, the monkey did it.
He's a detective interrogating a monkey at a train station.
Are you going to drink your coffee?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Come on, don't. I want to watch it. Unadulterated.
It's only 17 minutes of your life.
Make sure you're adulterated. I would get really good at adulterating it for you.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I said it's actually just non sequiturs. I said it was a police station. It's a train station.
Train station, yeah.
And the lady who walks in the coffee is the. And she goes, apparently there's a murder about.
I'm going to leave an open mic about how wrong you are about the David Lynch information you gave yesterday. This guy doesn't understand. I've seen lots of YouTube videos, and this one was completely wrong.
Yeah, good.
You had enough, right?
Yeah, good, okay.
All of us had enough.
Good, okay.
I've had enough.
Here's
Wake
my-
up, WSB.
If that conversation you had, this should be the extent of it. I don't know. There's the answer.
Yeah,
I don't know.
See, that's the other side of it. Is like, yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know. So
And
is that interesting? No, come out with an opinion and then get
Sleazebag.
Get a sleaze bag.
He's a sleazebag.
I can get you a sleaze bag. Mike Lindell is working on a brand new sleaze bag.
What is sleaze? Like, why is
I
it a
don't
sleaze
know.
bag?
Did I spell it incorrectly? Because I've never spelled sleaze.
Sleaze.
Okay, I put a Z in there.
I would have put
Is there an S?
SLEEZE,
That's correct.
like sneeze.
I don't know what a sleaze bag is.
You know what I mean? Like douchebag.
Well, it's British.
It's
scumbag.
Gerald Nadler, according to the president.
He's a sleazebag.
Sleaze as a noun is immoral and corrupt behavior or material.
Right.
Oh, okay. So he's a bag full of corruption.
Especially in business or politics. And as a verb, it's just behaving immorally or corruptly.
Okay.
Well,
He's
it's
sleaze bagging all over the
origins.
He sleaze bagged all night.
I don't know why. Sometimes I really get into the just hearing noises like Biden.
Wait. You're getting nervous, man.
Yeah,
Seriously,
man.
find
My
the
first bill called to end impeachment.
Oh, Kelly Loeffler.
We have to do this
My
tomorrow.
second bill supported killing the world's deadliest terrorist.
Yeah.
Kelly Loeffler, a businesswoman, not a career politician, votes.
China is attacking American jobs. Iran is attacking American troops. And Congress only attacks the president.
The voiceover
It
guy.
has to stop.
John,
I'm
a
Kelly
normal
Loeffler.
man, not a
I
voiceover
approve
artist.
this message
Yeah.
because it's time to get to work.
It was the
My
first.
third bill
Yeah.
is to go to bed early. I'm tired.
This was the first voiceover guy.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
You should set Biden as your alarm in the morning, so when it goes off, that's what you wake up
It
to.
does sound like an alarm.
Wait.
And then
He's doing it wrong.
Then have Obama back and forth.
Wait.
Oh God!
Seriously,
snooze,
get that My
snooze.
Sharona thing in there.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, get that My Sharona thing.
Oh, you
Wow,
make
wow,
my
wow,
motor
wow,
run.
boom. Wow.
Yeah, that won't age me.
What are you talking about?
That
That's
won't
a song.
age the show.
Come on. We
Everybody
play all
listens
kinds
to
of old
My Sharona.
crap. Everybody knows My Sharona.
I think there's more likely you could build that into a drop. You build it, speed it up.
Oh yeah. Why don't you do some of your EDM?
Yeah, and then play Corn Pop was a bad
Okay.
dude.
All right, we'll have some fun.
Corn Pop is a bad dude. Don't
That
forget-
My Sharona, it sounds like the music sounds like it comes out of a training video. Dun 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 dun. And someone walking into the factory.
God bless.
Did they have a second?
They had one more hit, but it wasn't as big.
Yeah, girls, good girls.
Good girls don't, but I do.
Who did Turn in Japanese?
Vapors. One hit wonder.
Oh,
You got to end your EDM thing with this.
Go to Joe 30330 and help
And then
me in this fight.
Yeah.
I put it 5 times in a row.
Go to
here.
Bush.
Go to Joe.
And then wait. And then when I'm the conductor, when I hit you, you become Obama. Okay, ready? There you go.
Okay, all right.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
I'm Kelly Loeffler. I'm Kelly Loeffler.
This is a witch hunt.
And if you want it backwards,
It's the same.
Oh, I'm a backwardologist.
It's the same.
I hear the message now.
It's there's a satanic message in there.
God bless United States. Say that one next. Say that one next.
it's like dog. It's like
You say
zero
like bow
res.
wow 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 bow wow.
It's almost like an
wow,
engine
wow,
at that point. It's like a car, like an old car chugging over, you know.
Yeah, my engine won't turn over. Wow 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 wow.
I hope someone listens to this podcast with their windows down. I know it's winter, and they have it turned up very loud.
God bless the United States.
God bless.
Aren't noises fun?
Do you think?
Did he sound
Actually,
like that?
do you think people? Some
I am
people
not a
drive
crook.
down.
What?
They drive down streets blasting their music. Does anyone listen to talk shows that way?
Oh, like just top down.
And for another thing, I was talking the other day about what's going on.
I get impeached.
So what Adam Schiff is talking about is a Scottish Shifty Schiff and a little old Chuck F.U. Todd.
Marijuana.
Chuck U. Todd.
Hey,
Speed it up.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Corn What? You guys are having a lot
Do
of
that
fun.
again.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Hey, playing it faster is not going to cause these last 5 minutes to go by faster.
I can't.
Clock's still ticking at normal
You have to-
speed.
You have to ramp it up.
You're getting nervous, man.
Okie doke. I can't do Keith right because Keith, for some reason, my producer,
Keith.
like 5 years ago, Keith, he gave me this noise and it's just way louder than anything else. So I have to turn down. This is normal. This is how I normally play things. But Keith, it's too loud. Let's move. That works.
I'm Mike Bloomberg, and I approve this message.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm running through this case, running for president of the United States. Look me over. I think we should see how bad it will go.
All right.
You can have your pudding. If you don't, eat your meat.
You've brought me back and forth here like 6 times.
Yeah, Keith, I'm
Do
sorry.
you need me or not?
He's confused,
No, I'm
man.
using the Keith signal. I don't know. I don't really need you, but you have any words of advice before you go back wherever
I
you
don't
can?
let it get you down. I mean, 10 years from now, who's going to care about today?
Very good. Thank you, Keith.
Such a wise man.
That made no sense.
I loved that. We need to do that every day.
What? What are you doing?
Is that your kid?
Ass wipe?
Eric's right.
Oh.
Eric's
Yeah.
white.
I am white.
Yeah. He's white.
It's
He's
true.
canceled.
It's true. I'm canceled. But you know who else is white? America? Alexander effin Hamilton. Pasty, white dude.
Not if you count to one drop rule.
Andrew Johnson, we don't need your expertise right now.
What's your podcast?
We're not talking about impeachment.
Something you do when you're fishing.
All right,
Podcast.
I'll go back with Bill. We're having fun in
I should
class.
end where I began at 9 o'clock. Just absolutely hilarious. I mean, you have to laugh. When I was listening to Adam Schiff yesterday, first of all, do Democrats like this guy? Does anybody like this guy, Adam Schiff? He is unctuous. I mean, unctuous. He's Uncle Chiss. That's what he is, Adam Schiff. The things that he was saying. I mean, it's absurd and ridiculous. I should have given my prediction. Because usually in a court of law, prosecution gives their argument, the defense answers. Oh no, this is I'm thinking at the end of a trial, but still, this will be the beginning and end. The prosecution. So maybe they do it this way, but in a trial, when a trial wraps up, you hear the prosecution wrap up, then the defense, and then you hear the prosecution one more time briefly after the rebuttal. So I think that in this week, these next couple of weeks, you can look in the polling. There's going to be an uptick because they've got all the hours. But watch how America is. It's going to be the last thing they hear. There's going to be an uptick in favor of removal because it's going to be, 24 hours over 3 days of the prosecution. And then there's going to be 3 days of the rebuttal, and then look at the polling then. And if it ends there, that's where the polling will end. But I don't know if they have closing arguments the same way you would in a court of law, where it's prosecution, defense, and then the prosecution again. In a court of law, the last thing the jury hears is the prosecution. I don't know if that's the case in this one. But I think that a lot of people are ill-informed, and that's exactly who Schiff is playing to. And so it's going to work a little bit, but it's so transparent. And bringing up Alexander Hamilton because he's the one the kids like right now is just...
For this to succeed, there's someone else we need. I know. So he knows what to do in the trench, ingenuity, and fluent in French. I mean,
Adam Schiff.
You're going to have to use him eventually. What's he going to do in the bench? I mean,
Adam Schiff.
No one has my resilience or matches my practical, tactical brilliance.
Adam Schiff.
Want to fight for your land back. Adam Schiff.
I mean, does this guy look in the mirror and see a future president?
No.
I mean, Greg, you're more liberal than me. Does anybody like Adam Schiff?
Maybe he thinks he's a hero of the people.
I can't speak for other people.
Do you like Adam Schiff?
I can't say that I particularly like him.
What's to like?
He's a douche nozzle. Not as bad as the president says that Gerald Nadler is.
He's a sleazebag.
Sleazebag. Everybody knows that.
Everybody. Wait, is this the president or is it Robert De Niro?
I was going to say.
From,
it's the next course. It's the Irishman, too.
Yeah, the Irishman.
He's a sleazebag.
He's a sleazebag.
He's a sleazebag.
Were you late for work? Yeah.
De Niro hates Trump. Trump sounds more and more like De Niro every day.
Nah. He blew it. That's what happened. He blew it.
Oh, I hope this podcast 30 has been listenable. I know there was about 2 minutes in there that was unlistenable, but I think the rest is all right.
There's some context at the beginning. You addressed the problem. We solved
No,
it.
I just thought that little mix.
Just cruise down Barrett Parkway and blast it. That's all.
I'm going to be doing that later.
That's where Greg used to be. That was Greg's Sunset Boulevard when he was a teenager.
Yeah,
Barrett Parkway.
Hey, let's go to the mall.
All right, that music says that we're done, and who the hell am I to disagree?
You want to fire me up?
Shut up.
Get me mad?
I'm messing everything up. Bye.
Case of myxomatosis.